Wow, hello everyone. How's it going? It's time for more chaos suffering is how I feel like referring to it right now. Um One word, fear. Yeah. Yeah. That's the word I'm going to stick with. Sana. Yeah. Like we've been through a
誰もい
lot.
ない。誰
We've
も
been
動い
through
て
a
いな
lot
い。
with
体が
all
動
the
かない。
endings we've gone through thus far. And
僕の名前は西
we're
条
on
匠。
the
17歳。
second
水
to
明学園
last
2年。
from the last ending.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。って僕か。
Oh, shut up. Fear though. Just fear. Yeah. I'm not playing with your sick games. I'm gonna say no to all of this shit. I don't know what to expect whatsoever. I generally don't. I'm trying to think. It's not working out very well for me. Cause I feel like Senna's route is gonna be most similar to Fess's. Just on the simple basis that, like, we've already known a little bit of her backstory already. Unlike with Kozuki. I mean, I guess he knew a tiny bit about Yua, but, like, only a tiny bit, you know? But, like, unlike Fess, Senna doesn't have, like, a specific goal to accomplish. Like, she does, but doesn't at the same time, if that makes any sense. Because, like, Fess, like, had the whole thing with Gladiel. It's like, oh yeah, this is my mission. I will accomplish it. And she accomplished it one way or another. And then Senna, like, has her personal goals, but, like, I don't know, it's different. I'm sure there's gonna be an encounter with her dad. But that only means so much. On one hand, Senna is pretty self-aware of what's going on, too. So, like, I'm sure she'll steer us away from things with, like, Suwa and shit. Or at least won't be, like, trapped into them, kind of unlike what happened with Kozuki. With the whole everyone around is being brainwashed and, like, falling into those traps and delusions. But once again, that doesn't really mean much for what I can actually expect. Maybe Senna will get to see Nanami with Takumi, but, like, also maybe not. I don't know, man. I guess there's a solid chance we'll learn more about the science behind everything, too. We're definitely gonna learn a lot more about Nozomi. Even if, well, maybe not a lot more. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't expect a happy ending. Yeah.
ね
Hello, Spooky. Do you have any speculations for what's gonna happen in this route? The Senna route? Okay. Neutral reaction. Let's go. And she really swung it. Chaos had to stop me to expect nothing and everything. Yeah, that's true. Look at me more. Yes. For her. I wouldn't mind begging on my knees. Also, yes. I hope she'd step on me, actually. Okay. Yes, apparently. The sword's gonna run through me, isn't it? I can tell. Yes. She's going to kill me with that sword. No. Soda flavored gari gari kun. Jesus fucking Christ, Taku. I mean, it is Takumi. Are we surprised? Well, those have definitely been the most down bad set of questions for route starting thus far, but who knows, Rimi might be worse. Actually, speaking of Rimi, the delusion that sets off for Rimi's route is that very first delusion trigger, like with Yua. So that's interesting. I love one speedrun visual novel. I feel like I say this every single time. It doesn't get any funnier. I guess it doesn't get less funny either, but that implies it was funny in the first place. Kinda surprised nothing new has happened yet. Oh, there we go. New content. In front of Shibuya Station, there's an old train car called the Green Frog that's open to visitors. Sana Aoi was sitting inside the car. She bit her thumbnail as she watched people coming and going outside, bored expression on her face. This is where she'd met Takumi Nishijo the other day. Now she was back here again. She didn't go to school. She didn't think she had time. There was a constant sense in her mind that time was running out. It made her angry and annoyed, and she took it out on everyone she met.
どこにいる
Where are you, Hatano? Sana said that to herself, her voice filled with hate. She stuffed a hand into her uniform pocket and took out a single piece of paper. It looked to have come from a small memo pad, and was badly wrinkled. IR2. Written on the paper was a complex row of numbers and letters that seemed to be some kind of formula. But perhaps because it was written in pencil, or maybe because so much time had passed since it was written, the writing was faded to the point of almost being impossible to read. And that's not how it looks on the image at all. It looks like it was written in pen. The most you could make out was IR2. It was something that Senna's father had once written. It wasn't a keepsake or a treasured memory to Senna. It was something she needed to keep from forgetting how much she hated him. Senna's family had once been happy, but ever since her father had written that formula on this piece of paper, things had slowly, quietly, but surely started to go wrong. Senna's father was a scientist working for a large corporation. Senna was only in elementary school at the time, and she didn't really know what he did, but she knew he was a busy man. He almost never came home. When he did, he was always really nice to her, but he'd never be home for more than a day. He'd be back to work almost immediately. At the time, she wasn't mad at him for never being home, but she had almost no memories of her family eating dinner together, which bothered her a little. Then one day, about 6.5 years ago, her normally calm and quiet father came home in a flurry of excitement. Senna, your dad's made a huge discovery. This is bigger than even a Nobel Prize. What's so amazing? This formula will change our understanding of the entire world. It's that big of a discovery. Then he took out a sheet off a memo pad and wrote out blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Then he took a sheet off a memo pad to write out the IR2 formula for her. I've been searching for so long. It wasn't something I could come up with on my own. Project NoAH was at a standstill, a dead end. But with this formula, we can go to the next stage. And I can't believe where I found it too. It must be the guidance of the divine light. Yay, the model got fixed, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things that I didn't reset up yet, but Tokyo Station. I just happened to be passing by. It was a total coincidence. Senna, have you ever been to Tokyo Station? It's really big, you know. But in one corner, they had a display of a bunch of essays. It was some kind of national essay contest put on by the cultural ministry. Head pats. Head pats. For little old me. Yay. As I deserve. Rightfully. Sorry, I got distracted by messages. Anywho's. The winning essays were up on display. Senna, did you know about it? Did you maybe apply? No, I don't think I did. Well, if you had, I'm sure you would have won too. No, I'm not good at writing. You sure? I think you should be more confident. So, this essay was a big discovery? No, that's not how it happened. The essay doesn't matter. What's important is what was scribbled on the back. The essays were put up in these transparent plastic frames. You could see the back too. I don't think it was something they meant to do. I think it was just chance that the frames were see-through. I'm sure whoever held the contest didn't intend for us to see the scribblings on the back. And that's why the probability that I was able to see this formula was so astronomically low. It's what you call a miracle, I guess. Or, one could say, the will of Steins Gate. No. Bad joke. A formula is like a math problem, right? Yes, that's right. A really hard math problem. Can a math problem change the world? Yes, apparently. Yeah, it sure can. Daddy's research is going to change the world forever. Sure did, buddy. Really? I don't know if I believe that. Someday, I'll prove it to you. Just you wait, Senna. And he proves it in the worst way possible. 6.5 years had passed since then. Senna gritted her teeth and shoved the paper back in her pocket. She looked up to the cloudy sky outside the windows. I just thought about it. Hades, did I ask you how your day's been? Have you had a good day? Welcome in. Did I do the usual greetings? I don't think so. I'm a goofball. Did I read this? My memory is so fucking bad. I'm gonna read it again just to be sure. Senna gritted her teeth and shoved the paper back in her pocket. She looked up at the cloudy sky outside the windows. Her dad had been right. The world was about to change. Things around Senna had already changed dramatically. The world was being reborn into something ugly and awful. The worst kind of world imaginable. I won't let him make that world. I'll kill him and stop it. We revenge plot. We... Still not feeling good? Aw. Do rest up as much as you can. You really just sending a plain F, even though you have the option to send an F emote. Shameful spooky. Cool peep. With all the resting you've done, you think you left a silhouette of your body on your bed. Oh, I said no.
よし、繋がった。
Ah, yes. The survive this or fuck up the run time. Almost. I saw a sword. Yes. You think I would have this memorized by now, but I don't. I saw a sword clearly. Also, yes. If I could move from here, I could go get it. No. You could see the sword someplace that wasn't here, too. No. It's not actually a sword. Yes. I wonder if Takumi will get his D-sword in this route, because he didn't last time. Hmm. Cool peep. Gozo P is small and good. Deserved better. Your mom also liked the Fetty keychain? That's amazing. Fetty was a lot of fun to draw, actually. I hope I get, like, more silly, goofy, like, commissions like that in the future. Like, the next closest was how AXO commissioned me to draw their character in the Shinji chair pose. That was fun. The 7th murder. Another one. Another new gem murder. How long was this gonna keep happening? Wow. The Dolkun puzzle? Wow. Every time you see or hear about Axu, All you can think of is the Pokemon with the same name. I'm not aware of Axew at all. Among Us Fetty, oh my.
今日午前4時50分頃、東京都渋谷区の警察の調べによりますと、3人とも胴体の部分
It's kind of
3人の
annoying
死
that
体
this
に
is
は
not
それぞれ
skippable
渋谷で
at
は
all.
2ヶ月ほど前から猟奇殺人事件が頻発しており、警察では今回の事件も同一犯による犯行の可能
I
性が
recognize their faces.
あいつら
It's
昨日
them.
僕に
The
絡んで
guys
きた
that caused the be bullied. Kozupi wouldn't kill them. I mean, no, I'm not gonna follow that up. Definitely was Shogun. One of them, anyways. The Pretender. Somebody save me. Where did Remy go? Wasn't she supposed to protect me? No, I couldn't count on Remy anymore. I'm going to school today and she hadn't even been there. It was like she'd never been there at all. I need somebody to protect me. Somebody other than her. The first person that came to mind was... Sana. If you feel like you're going to get more involved in this, whether you want to or not, you need to keep a strong will. One that can turn negative into positive. Without that strength, your delusions will devour you. Except about Kozupi sobs. Sanawi. She had given me that warning before we'd said goodbye the other day. She knew something. She had a D-sword. She looked kind of strong too. Would she save me? I needed her to. Really badly. The next day, I headed to the area in front of the station. I didn't want to go at all. The events at Ofront had left me with traumatic memories of Scramble Crossing. And there were so many people around, like always. And the Hachiko statue especially had so many couples around it. Everybody was either grinning at me or pointing their cell phone cameras at me. If I looked behind me, I'd see the huge Ofront building, where I'd humiliated myself last night. The videos from that night were probably online, or they'd be shared around the globe for the rest of eternity. There was no way I'd ever manage to get them all deleted. People would be using that video to make fun of me until the day I died. I was so frustrated, sad, and irritated that I wanted to run away. But if I did, Shogun would kill me, so I stayed. I tried my best not to look at the people around me, and then, trembling, I set foot inside the train car they called the Green Frog. Sanae was there, just like I thought she'd be. She was the only one in the car. I never thought about it before, but maybe the reason that nobody else came in was that she'd done something somehow. And was it her Giglomaniac power? You, huh? Did you find an error? I shook my head a little, and offered her the Gari-Gari-Kuns I'd bought at the store. This is what the Japanese called nothing special. I brought you this gift. It's nothing special, but oh, thank you. I was following Japanese tradition, you see. If you went to see someone, you were expected to bring a gift. I didn't expect her to protect me for free. I pay her 3 Gari-Gari-Kun popsicles a day. With an offer like that, said I was sure to agree. I'm giving them to me. Thanks. Senna took them, with much less questioning than I'd thought. She'd fallen for my trap. What's your favorite flavor, Nishijo? Mine's soda. She ripped open the plastic and took out the popsicle. Maybe I was imagining it, but it felt like she had a grin on her face. She must really like Gari-Gari-Kyun. Senna, if you eat too many, you'll get sick. I like the cola ones. Of course he does. What? The cola ones taste awful. Only idiots like them. If I had to guess, Hades, probably just a light citrus, like, original flavored ramune. I feel like that's usually, like, the default soda in Japan. But that's just a guess. Sorry. She got mad at me. I didn't think it was worth getting mad at someone over, but I couldn't upset her here. So, she gave me a questioning glance as she began to nibble on her popsicle. You want something from me? Look, could Senna do anything to make herself look less intimidating? She always looked so angry. All I was doing was asking her for help, but I felt like my nervousness was going to kill me. I wasn't even that good at talking to 3D girls in the first place. Japan does seem like the citrus type of place to you. Are you trying to say that Japan is fruity? I took several deep breaths and somehow managed to calm myself down. I want you to save me. What do you mean? The new gen killer is after me. I told you about it before, right? That guy named Shogun. He's reading my mind. Mind reading, huh? Who is he? Dog. Dog. It's not a snack box. They're just gross. Jeez. I don't know. I was hoping you could tell me. There aren't many people here in Shibuya who can read minds. So, a Gigalomaniac. Or somebody with Nozomi. I mean... Nozomi? Popsicle intimidation eating technique. So true. Nozomi Technologies. They're trying to take over the world with Project NoAH. What? Isn't that what they usually call a conspiracy theory? Maybe Shogun was working with them. Help me, please. I started to feel worse and worse. I just wanted somebody to cling to, somebody to save me. Senna took another bite of her Garigari-kun. That's such a tongue twister. Her eyes narrowed. I told you. Without strength, your delusions will devour you. Do you have what it's going to take? No, of course not. I'm just asking you to help me. I'm so sick of all this. Why am I the only one who has to suffer like this? I dropped to my knees. Forget about me. Protect me. What did I ever do to any of you? I didn't want to do anything. You don't, huh? I could feel her cold gaze. I knew how pathetic I looked. I couldn't look up. I'm curious about this Shogun character, though. If he's with Nozomi, does that mean he's behind New-chan? So, I can't let this opportunity slip away. I love that Senna is smart. We need a smart character. She was looking out the window and mumbling to herself. She was frowning, lost in thought, but still eating her Garigari-kun popsicle. After a moment, she suddenly stood up from her chair and came over to me. You want me to protect you? Damn it. Why did she always have to look down on me whenever we spoke? Did she think she was a queen or something? In my mind, I was angry at her. In the real world, I was just nodding along helplessly. And that means you're going to be tagging along with me. You're okay with that, right? I'm okay with anything. As long as you'll protect me. My top priority now is protecting myself from Shogun, my greatest enemy.
本当
If
に
you're really going to protect
守っ
me,
てくれるなら
I don't care about anything
文句は言わ
else.
ない。
決まりだ。
And then it's settled. She reached out her hand. I didn't know what she meant, so I just stared at her long, lithe fingers. She looked frustrated for a second before grabbing me and pulling me to my feet. My eyes met for a second. She was looking into my face at point-blank range, so I quickly looked down. She let go.
じゃあ行くぞ。
Let's go then. She turned her back to me. Huh?
行
Go
くってどこ
where?
へ？
のぞみテクノロジー
Nozumi
の本社。
Technologies, HQ. Jesus. Straight to the point, huh? Huh?
これから乗り込む。
I'm going to break in. Break in? To the enemy's HQ? No. What was this idiot thinking? Was she suicidal or something? I screwed up. I was an idiot to go to her for help. I'm not going. I'm definitely not going there. I'm the guy who says to the hero, "You can't go. It's suicide." Not the hero who actually goes and commits suicide. I stood there with my mouth open, gaping like a fish. Sana ignored me and left the train car. I decided there was no way I was going anywhere. And then I realized my arm couldn't move. I looked down on my body. What? There's a white chain wrapped around me. It was wrapped tight too. I tried to pull it off, but it didn't move. Who'd put it there? When? What was going on here?
ぐずぐずするな。
Stop wasting time. She leashed him. Senna looked at me, poking her head up against the train car window. The chain holding my body jerked forward. I tried to stay where I was, but my body wasn't moving like it should. The chain led outside the car and ended in Senna's hand. She was holding it. Senna was holding the chain. So she was the one pulling it? So this was some kind of public humiliation fetish, like with the dominatrix and her slave, then. Okay, I can work with that. Oh, God. Talk of me. Wait, no, I can't. I was such an idiot to come to Senna for help. She was the worst choice. Somebody help me. This isn't fair. The Nozomi HQ building was within walking distance of Shibuya Station, but my mental strength felt like I was going to run out before I got there. Senna was walking right through the middle of the city with me wrapped up in a chain behind her. And of course, there were any number of people with their phones pointed at us, as if I hadn't been humiliated enough already. There were probably threads up on that channel already. Boy Psychic Nishijo, doing human pet play with a black-haired toddy in the middle of Shibuya. The Dokyuns were going to tease me again. I kept begging, but Senna wouldn't take the chains off.
今のお前にとって必
What you
要
need
な
to
の
do
は
now is to
目
stand
立つこ
out.
とだ。
You're certainly standing out
今の
now,
ところ
aren't you?
その目的は達成されてるだろ。
I honestly thought for sure that the chains weren't actually visible, but nope, she actually is going the publicly humiliate Nishijo route. Okay. I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. What did that mean? I'd never in my life said, Coach Anzai, I want to be a man who stands out. It's been a while since we got its hit. A famous coach from a certain manga. In mid-2000s Japanese internet culture, it was a common meme to say, Coach Anzai, I want to. Interesting. Dog, I swear to God, get out of the litter box. You're disgusting. Get out. Stop that. Sheesh. And we were heading into the enemy HQ too. We could be killed at any moment. Mitsuna ignored my pleas. She went inside a fancy-looking building, still holding the chain in her hand. I was literally dragged along behind her. You think you remember the Coach Anzai thing from Steins Gate? I don't remember which Steins Gate. It doesn't really ring any bells for me personally, so I can't help with that one. Probably something with Dodger, though. I gasped when I saw how fancy the lobby in front of me was. The Nozomi Group. It was supposedly one of Japan's biggest corporate conglomerates right now. It was a world apart from the daily life of a wimpy school kid like me. Wow, we really are getting tips like crazy all of a sudden. Okay, maybe not like crazy, it's just 2 in a row, but like after not having any like tips in like centuries. Anyways, just a huge corporate group created by mergers with companies in multiple different fields of business. Conglomerates can be found in any number of industries. I've never been inside a building like this before, and the size of the lobby, and the pretty girl sitting motionlessly at the receptionist desk staggered me. This is a corporate office, right? Wasn't it supposed to be off limits to the public? Both Sen and I were wearing a CMA uniform. We were clearly both high school kids, and one of us was a weirdo with a chain wrapped around him. I don't understand how Senna could walk right in like she owned the place. Was she just crazy? Of course, when we went through the automatic doors and saw the receptionist, their eyes met ours. Let's go home. I hesitated to go any further, but Senna didn't stop. Don't worry. We walked past the front desk and into the elevator hall. Nobody said a word. Why? Senna didn't get in one of the elevators. She opened the emergency exit near the elevator hall. There was a dimly lit emergency staircase inside. Only after we were there did she stop. Everyone around us thinks we work here. And the sense of something pressing up against my body had vanished. I looked and saw that the chain wrapping around me had disappeared, and now Senna was holding her D-sword in her hand. And that chain was a real booted illusion then. And then, the chain Senna had real booted by sending antiparticles into the dead spots of my eyes suddenly disappeared. What do you mean they think we work for Nozomi? You're making them believe it. The effect extends to everyone who sees us with the naked eye. Making them believe it? Was that possible? Obviously. Yeah, but... I hate when yawns get stuck in my mouth. I don't know. Senna looked up toward the top of the stairs. What looked like the security camera was waiting there. There was a red light on it, and it was scanning from right to left while making an eerie noise. Can you make a security camera believe it too? I could if I wanted to, maybe. I've never tried it. I don't need to. I don't need to it. I don't need to it. But why? They'll find us. You're crazy. In stealth missions, the first thing you do is always destroy the security cameras. Buddy, you don't know anything. Oops. A type of mission popular in video games, particularly action games. The goal of a stealth mission is to infiltrate enemy territory without being spotted, complete your objective, and escape. At least, that's what I learned from video games. I told you. You need to stand out. I had no idea what she meant. She was contradicting herself, wasn't she? She wanted to camouflage us by making everyone believe we were Nozomi employees, but I also needed to stand out? Which was it? What was she trying to accomplish here? No one ever explained to me what the hell they were actually talking about. Did they all think I was stupid? Did they all just think there was no point in telling Takumi Nishijo since he wouldn't be able to understand it? I mean... I was smart, damn it. My IQ was definitely higher than Senna's. I was sure of it. I'm not sure about that, buddy. Not that IQ means anything, actually, but... Well, I stood there, biting my lip in frustration. Senna began to walk up the stairs herself. Was she really going to protect me? No, probably not. She was putting me in danger by forcing me to come here. Also, please don't go on ahead without me. Please tell me where we're going and what we're doing here. And why do we need to take the stairs instead of the elevator? I'm out of shape.
エレベーターに乗るのは
Taking the
自殺
elevator
行
is
為だ
suicide. I could hear Senna's voice above me. More mind reading? I sighed and followed Senna up the stairs. When I got to the second floor, Senna was waiting for me. When she saw that I'd caught up, she headed up another flight.
敵の本拠地
If
でエ
you
レ
try
ベ
to
ー
use
タ
the
ーに乗ったら
elevator in the
閉じ
enemy's
込められて身
headquarters,
動きが
they'll
取れな
just
くな
lock
るの
you
が
in
オ
and
チだよ
trap you, right?
それ
Yeah,
はそうだけど
but
それより西条
more importantly,
将軍
Nishijo,
について教
tell
え
me
る
about Shogun.
そいつ
When
は
did he
いつから
start
お前
coming
を攻
after
撃
you?
するようになった
1ヶ月ぐらい
About a month
前
ago.
話したことがあるん
You've
だな
spoken to him, right? I nodded. She turned around and looked down at me from above. I could almost see your panties from here, Senna. Quickly looked away.
どんなことを言っていた
What did he tell you? What did he tell me? I told her all about the things Shogun had told me, and about how he threatened me with a fake kidnapping.
畑野
Have you
と
ever
いう
heard
名
the
前
name
に聞き覚
Hatano?
えは
ないけど
No. Why?
将軍が言っていたか
Shogun
もしれ
might
ない
have
だろ
said it, right?
うよく思い出
I
せ
think. Not to know. I hadn't heard it before.
誰
Who's that?
プロジェクトノアに関
Someone
わってい
involved
た
with
男だ
Project NoAH. I didn't know him. I didn't even know what Project NoAH was.
そうか
I see.
知
If
ら
you
ないな
don't
ら
know,
別
then
に
that's fine. She turned away from me and began to silently walk up the stairs.
Ma-
Are we
Mada.
there yet? We walked up almost 20 flights of stairs with no break. I didn't think I'd ever walked up so many flights of stairs in my life. I was so tired. Please, no more stairs. The sweat was falling from my brow and threatening to get into my eyes. I kept wiping it away, and it kept coming back. My legs were exhausted, and I was so out of breath I thought I'd suffocate. I bent over, hands on my knees, and tried to catch my breath. The sweat fell off and made a puddle on the floor. How many more flights to go?
登るの
社長室
The
は
CEO's
最上
office
階
is
にあるら
supposed to
し
be
い
on the top floor.
31階
That
だ
would be the 31st. 10 more flights of stairs. Wait, why was I doing this? I'd asked Santa to protect me. What was I doing up here? I saw that ASCII art of Polnareff's face appear in my mind's eye. You're right, I don't know what's going on at all. The sound of my panting echoed through the quiet emergency staircase. Surprisingly, Sana didn't try to go on without me. She leaned up against the wall, staring at me expressionlessly. Just give me a chance to rest from the look of it. There was another security camera above her head. And there were cameras on all the floors. They must have known exactly where we were for a while now. Security might come for us any moment.
監視カメラに細工を
The
しなか
reason I
ったの
didn't
は
do anything to the cameras, she whispered suddenly,
将軍がもし
was
望
that
みの
of
人間
Shogun,
で
or
こ
anyone
の
with
ビル内に
Nozomi
いる
was
な
here.
らおびき
wanted
寄
to
せる
lure
ことが
them
でき
out.
るかもしれないと思ったからだ
つまり
In other words,
僕はおとりってわけ
I'm bait? Yes,
そういうことにな
and
る
that's right.
もともと望
And
み
I
に
was
なんか
never
興味は
interested
なかっ
in
たんだけど
Nozomi in
な
the first place.
このビルに
I
乗り込
wasn't
むことに
planning
した
on
のだって
coming here
イレ
either.
ギュラーだもちろん
Of course.
いつか
I
は
was
プロジェ
planning
ク
on
トノアを
destroying
潰そう
Project
とは思っ
NoAH
て
at
いた
some
が
point.
それ
But
は
not
今じゃな
now.
い
There's
それよ
something
り
I
も
had
優
to
先
do
しなくちゃいけない
first.
ことがあった
She turned talkative all of a sudden. Maybe she was explaining the maybe she was explaining the reason she'd come here. She didn't tell me it was that she I can't speak all of a sudden. She didn't tell me what it was that she had to do first.
お前の話を聞
From
く
what
限
you
り
said,
その
This
将軍
Shogun
は
seems
何
to
かを
know
知ってる。
something.
あるいは
He might know about
旗の
Hatano.
ことも。
Whenever she said the name, her expression would darken for a moment. Was he some kind of terrible criminal or something? I mean, yes, actually.
安心しろ、
Don't
西条
worry, Nishijo.
これは
We're
交換
making a
条件
fair
だ。
trade.
お前に
You're
おとり
being
に
my
なっても
bait
らう代わり
in
に
exchange.
私は
protect
お前
you.
を守る。それにお前だっ
And
て
you want to know who
将軍
Shogun
の
really
正体を
is,
知り
right?
たいだろ。
If you want to get rid of a
脅
threat,
威を
the
排除
best
する
thing
に
to
は
do is go
こ
on
ち
the
らから
offensive
攻撃。
end. She suddenly stopped speaking. Her eyes narrowed. She stepped away from the wall, holding her D-sword at the ready on the small landing.
どうしたの？
What's wrong? Senna didn't answer. She looked down over the stair railing and then up, and then froze.
この声
Where's this
どこから？
voice coming from? Voice.
お前何者
Who
だ！
are you? She suddenly screamed. Thought she was yelling at the cameras, but she was looking further up at the ceiling. Was it? A terrible thought ran through my mind. I looked up too, of course. There was nothing there. And I couldn't hear her voice either. I could tell what was going on, though. Shogun. He was using satellites in the sky far above us to read her mind and speak to her. Senna!
その声
Don't
を聞い
listen
ちゃ
to
ダメ
that
だ。
voice!
セナ！
Senna! I grabbed her and shook her.
将軍は
Looks like Shogun
望
isn't
みの人
working
間
with
じゃないら
Nozomi.
しい。
And... I knew it. Senna heard Shogun's voice.
騙され
He's
てる
lying to you.
あいつは
He's my
敵だよ
enemy.
信じちゃ
Don't
ダメだ
believe him.
音だ。
The sound. Huh? My hand was on her shoulder. She grabbed it and held it tight. Her nails dug into me. It hurt. I winced.
西条
Nishijo.
音がしている。
That's the sound. Be careful. There was a flash of light above us. I saw an image in my mind. A dark room. A pool of blood on the floor. A strange object that looked like a cross. And someone lying helpless, trapped, bound to it. Their clothes stained with blood. Their right hand was severed at the wrist. I saw it. I could see every detail. I was sure of who I'd seen. It was Nanami. Nanami! Nanami is somewhere in this
このビル
building.
のどこかに
Shogun had kidnapped her after all. The severed hand was real, not a delusion. I had to find her. I had been able to save her, and now she was suffering. I had to find her. This time, I had to save her.
落ち着け
Calm
西条
down, Ichijo.
これは罠の可能
It
性
might
だ。
be a trap. Well, you just believed what
将軍
Shogun
のことを
said,
信
didn't
じたじゃ
you?
ないか。
I knocked Senna's hand away. The CEO's office was on the 31st floor, right?
違う。
No,
音を
listen
聞
to
け
the sound.
将軍の
It's
干
a
渉とは
different
別の
delusion
妄
than the
想だ。
one Shogun was using. I ignored her and started to run. I was tired, but it didn't matter. I was desperate. Nanami was suffering. It was my fault. It was all my fault. I failed last time. I'd run away. Nanami must hate me. Forgive me. I'm such a terrible brother. Damn it. I wanted power. D-sword like Senna had. Why couldn't I get a D-sword? I wanted it so badly. Nanami, don't die. Please. Nanami! The 31st floor was large. It only had one door. I flung it open and saw that it was the room I'd just seen in my mind. There were monitors hanging from the ceiling, all of which had the word Nozomi against a white background. I looked around for Nanami. It was too dark to tell if she was here or not, but
ナナミ
Nanami. It didn't feel like there was anyone here. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. There's nothing here.
西条
Nishijo! Senna followed me into the room. She grabbed my hand.
今すぐ出る
We're
ぞ。
leaving now.
これは
This
罠
is a
だ。
trap.
だって
But Nanami,
聞こえないのか
can't
この
you
音が
hear the sound? Suddenly, the open door slammed shut on its own. The room got darker.
しまった。
Damn it. Sana ran to the door and tried to force it open with no luck. Her D-sword vanished, as if it was melting into thin air.
閉じ込められた。
We're trapped.
だったら
Then use your
力を
power.
使えばいいじゃないか。
う
I
まく
can't form the
妄想
delusion.
できない。
Senna winced and rubbed her temples before shaking her head. I had a headache. I only noticed it after I had calmed down. It wasn't that bad, but it felt like it was coming from the very center of my head. It felt like it was pounding in time with my heartbeat, a small, barely noticeable pain. My head was starting to feel fuzzy. And there was Nanami. Was this Shogun's trap? Was Shogun on my side? What kind of stuff does Notice Me Technologies even make? Senna's tits were pretty flat, but it was Hatano. Weird. Why can't I focus on a single thought?
バイオ周波数
You're
攻撃を
undergoing
受
a
けているぞ。
biofrequency attack. Two of the monitors above suddenly changed what they were showing. Each showed a different man in late middle age. Kids these days are fearless. In a bad sense, of course. Indeed. It's probably your fault, Inohana. The new, more relaxed education system was your idea. Interesting. It was simply carrying out the Committee of 300's plan. It's another excellent step toward the human cultivation project. What? Who were these people? It's certainly ironic that you're the one to bring an end to it too. I'm sure the Committee of 300 didn't expect that. They think they rule the world, and they have no idea what you and I have cooked up for them, Kunamochi. It was my way of declaring war. The world doesn't need 300 rulers. The two of us can do it ourselves. What were these two talking about? And then their bulging eyes turned to look at us. It all worked out, exactly like Norose said. I certainly didn't think she'd be stupid enough to fall right into the trap, but I suppose I was wrong. In a week or so, she'll be too weak to resist, and then we can begin the torture show. And these documents say that Senna Hatano's code sample has already been collected. Senna Hatano? What the hell was that? You think we should brainwash her? Make her our soldier? Soldier and plaything. Having a giggly maniac girl as a slave sounds like it would be a fun time. Gross. You have such fascinating tastes, Inohana. Now then, Gigalomaniac children, enjoy your confinement. In a week from now, the world will be a very different place thanks to Project NoAH. I'm sorry you won't get to see the moment it happens. And the faces disappeared from the monitor. The room became dim again. It was a trap. It was a trap! Damn it. But we're grown adults, one of whom was evidently a Diet member. Want to set up a trap for a creepy loser kid like me. Not fair. It's not fair. Nanami wasn't here. She was being held in another room. I felt pathetic for falling for it. I should have just listened to Senna. And so, NoAH member and the leader of the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light were both part of the Committee of 300. Senna was slamming her shoulder against the door. It wasn't budging. Maybe it had been locked from the outside. It looked tough. It was probably impossible to break. The Committee of 300. I remembered reading about them in some conspiracy theory. Were they real? It makes sense, now that I think about it. Silent weapon theory was originally their project. What is that Project NoAH thing they were talking about? Senna moved away from the door. Evidently, she'd given up. She looked around the dim room, frowning. A silent weapon development project created by Nozomi Technologies. Silent weapon? The simplest way to describe it is as a mind control device that works over a large area. Mind reading, induced hallucinations, sensory control. No actual damage is done to the physical body. There's no sound, no color, no smell. It's completely impossible. Invisible. Why did I say impossible? But it quietly and slowly affects the minds of anyone it targets. The attack ends before anyone knows it's even happened. It sounds like a gigalomaniac's power. Of course. The silent weapons got their start as an attempt to create an artificial gigalomaniac. It was such a bizarre thing to hear that it didn't feel real. And that's just how it went. I wasn't a hero. So even if this incredible conspiracy was real, and I'd been at work right here in Shibuya, I didn't want to try and fight it. Even if I tried, I wouldn't be of any help. Even to somebody else who's stronger than me. It is possible that the new gen murders, as well as the bizarre things that were happening to me, were all part of Project NoAH. I mean, yeah. If that was true, I'd do better to get out of Shibuya right now, so they couldn't hurt me. All I wanted was for Nanami to be safe, for me to be safe, to live in peace. For that to happen, I had to get out of here. I didn't want to spend a week stuck in here, especially since there didn't seem to be any food or water. Right, that's what those old men wanted. A week without food or water would weaken us. It might even kill us. Senna, let's think of a way to get out of here. The door won't open. Senna looked tired. But what about your D-sword? For some reason, I can't summon it. They must have shut down my power. We're being attacked by a silent weapon, Nishijo. Attacked? What did that mean? Did it mean there was no way to escape? Senna laid down right on the floor like she was exhausted. Are you okay? Damn it. I feel so tired. And I feel strange. Like someone's squeezing me tight, deep inside my chest. Senna's breathing was shallow. Her chest was exposed, just a little. I could see the sweat forming on it, even in the darkness. Despite everything that was going on, it still looked so sexy. I realized that the room was awfully hot. Hey, do you have any water? Of course I didn't. I was getting thirsty too. The idea of spending a week without water in this heat made me feel sick. Senna was staring at me. I wasn't capable of looking at a 3D girl in the eyes, so I quickly turned away. I could still feel her staring at me. Don't look at me. I don't have any water. No. I glanced over at her for just a second. Our eyes met. Why was she looking at me like that? She looked like a young maiden in love. Of course, I was a virgin who never had a girlfriend, so I didn't know what a young maiden in love actually looked like, but still. I quickly turned away and audibly gulped. Something's wrong. Be careful, Nishijo. They might be manipulating our emotions. Huh? What do you mean? Whenever I look at you, I feel strange. Damn it. How dare they? In other words, they're forcing Senna to fall in love with me? Or maybe she was just in love with me from the start. No, not a chance in hell. They're manipulating our emotions? How? Human emotions are just electrical signals in the brain. And they're doing research all over the world to find a way to interfere with those electric signals. It's possible that they already reached the point where they can be used in practical applications, especially with a silent weapon, like NoAH 2. You understand now, right? When I said the whole world runs on electricity. Like a program, maybe. There's the zeros and ones that could be easily manipulated. It had been scientifically proven that there were electrical signals running through the brain. So whatever you defined as a soul or mind was electrical too. Huh. So, in the end, it's no different than 2D. That's your conclusion? And heroines from my H games. There's a latte in ESO. They get a ton from the anime and Senna. What was the difference between any of them? If Senna was right and the whole world ran on electricity, there was no difference at all. Every one of them was the same. It felt like I understood a little about what Senna meant by errors. That would make NoAH 2 a really powerful computer virus. Or maybe a PK or using an illegal cheat code. Meow, hello Catman, how's it going? How are you doing? Even Nightheart couldn't beat somebody like that. He was way more useless than he was. The only thing I could... The only thing I was good for was getting a miserable game over by starving to death in a locked room. It's not my fault. It's going. That's fair. How goes stream? I mean... MC and Senna are currently trapped in a room. So that's fun. It's the person inside me who keeps making all the bad route choices. Listen. I covered my head with my hands and curled up into a ball. "28 hours passed since we'd been locked in the room. I'd fallen unconscious several times already. And not Nozomi Tojo from Love Live. That would be pleasant. Nozomi is a good girl. But Nozomi Corporations is not. You could definitely say they're kind of opposites. Hi Aram though, how's it going? Nozomi Tojo for CEO, she'd fix it. I don't know. Maybe let's keep Love Live out of this. I think that's the better option here. Waves of different feelings were watching over me. One moment I'd feel depressed, the other maniacally excited. It was wearing down my mind. It's going okay, how about me? It's also going okay. I'm feeling really tired, which is kind of annoying, but... Sun and I said nothing to each other, damn. Sun had been completely useless since she'd been locked in here anyway. Wow. Thanks, Aro. The one saving grace was that there were computers in this room. There were several other monitors besides the monitors that had been showing the filthy faces of the Diet member and the cult leader. These monitors were all connected to computers. The computers had internet too. I tried posting SOS messages on various message boards. It hadn't worked though. Shocker. I couldn't post anything. I could receive messages, but not post anything. No chats, no emails. Somebody out there was watching us, at the orders of those two men. And were they giving us access to information? We couldn't tell. A few hours after I had begun looking around on the internet, I happened to look at the top stories on Taboo Hands News. Blech. One headline struck out at me. Ryan should be a scramble crossing. And then it happened. First, there was the rumbling. The floor, no, the whole building began to violently shake. Next, a terrible ringing in my ears. It was the high-pitched sound of something resonating that threatened to split open my head. I looked over at Senna and saw she was holding her ears in pain. And then, an intense, violent rumbling. Like somebody had thrown the building into a blender. I couldn't stay standing. I fell and started to roll, and quickly slammed back first into a wall. Senna was crouching in a ball in the middle of the room. And above her, the monitors hanging from the ceiling were swaying like pendulums. The whole world started to move in slow motion. The monitors started to slow down, and with a dull crack, the aluminum posts holding them up broke. And they fell, slowly, right towards Senna. I've experienced this feeling before, hadn't I? Yeah, that's right. When Ayase had jumped off the school building. She was going to die. If one of those huge monitors fell on her head, she'd die. I couldn't get there in time. She was at least 5 meters away, and I didn't have the courage you need to sacrifice yourself to save a 3D girl. Instead, though, a delusion formed in my mind. In the delusion, I was running across the shaking floor, grabbing her in my arms and saving her heroically. It all happened in an instant. I blinked, and in that moment, my body teleported over to Senna, and I grabbed her and rolled out of the way. I could hear the monitor slamming down into the floor right next to me. The room had been so dark, but now my vision was white. And there was an ear-piercing explosion, and then a shockwave even bigger than the others assaulted me, and then I passed out. How much time had passed? My mind felt like it was floating in the darkness. Like there was something close, frustratingly close. I faintly felt something warm, and then slowly opened my eyes. Senna's face was right in front of me. Her long hair was draping down my cheeks. The sensation of her breathing was touching my nose. Her eyes were closed, but her eyelashes were twitching. She seemed to be just unconscious. She was so close. If I wanted to kiss her, I could. I tried to back away, but I couldn't move. Only then did I realize the situation I was in. I looked around, but it was too dark to see. It was like there was a thin veil over me. MC is down bad a little. He is a degenerate. I realized what it was. Dust. We were buried in the rubble. I hadn't gone blind. There were no gaps to see out of anywhere around us. We were wedged in a tiny space. If I tried to move my limbs, I could hear the sound of pebbles falling. When I heard that, I stopped moving. Cold sweat formed on my forehead. Was there an earthquake? There have been a lot of them in Shibuya lately. Maybe they were leading up to this one. Had Tokyo finally been hit with the next superquake? And then the Nozomi building had collapsed, maybe? I remember the terrorist attack that had hit America a few years ago. and instantly felt miserable. We were trapped in the rubble, but we were safe. Maybe we'd been incredibly lucky. Of course, there's no telling how long that luck could last. The rubble around us was in a state of precarious balance. I couldn't tell, but it was possible that there was 10 tons more rubble right on top of it. If we moved too much and destroyed that balance, the rubble would crush us inside of a second. I shivered as I imagined what would happen then, and I stopped moving. I don't want to die. I don't want to die here, crushed, without anyone knowing where I am. Someone, please come save me. The self-defense force, the rescue squad. I don't care who. Just come save me. I listened to see if I could hear anyone. Well, it was only an eerie silence. The only thing I could hear was Senna's breathing. Damn it. How could she stay asleep at a time like this? She was lying right on top of me, her body tight against mine. Her body was pressing down on me. Her chest, her stomach, her legs, almost her entire body was on top of me. It was heavy. It was heavy, but I could also feel the softness of her body. And I could still feel her breath tickling my cheek. Did it seem a little sweet because of all the gotti coons she ate? Her breathing was deep, rhythmic, and with each breath, her chest heaved slightly. And every time it did, I could feel it. Was this some new type of torture? My mind wasn't going to last 5 minutes against this. I needed to wake her up and get out of here. Wake her up? Was that safe? If she woke up, what would she do? Sun was always glaring at everybody, regardless of who they were. At minimum, she'd call me a pervert. She might even go crazy and try to rip my throat out with her teeth. Jesus. We were close enough, and since she was on top, she could do it. I wouldn't be able to run. Maybe that was going too far. It was certainly possible that Senna would panic when she woke up. She'd panic and struggle and bring the rubble down on top of us. What was I supposed to do? I want to put my hands on my temples and think. I couldn't, so instead I settled for bashing my head against the rubble below. If nothing else, it would stop me from getting horny for Senna. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, I guess. Don't think about it. You're not interested in 3D girls. You like 2D girls. Think about Seidatan's face. Don't think about Senna's tits. She's all stuck up anyway. Not your type. She's not turning you on at all. Don't get horny. Don't get horny. Don't get horny. I was so horny. Maybe I could have my way with Senna while she was asleep. Don't. Maybe I could lick the lips that were always saying all those mean things. That's a little weird. No, not a good idea to go for the lips first. How about don't touch her? I wasn't ready for that yet, buddy. Maybe I could lick her cheek. What did the 3D girl's skin taste like? Sweat? Or was it sweet, maybe? Please wake up, Senna. This guy is freaking gross. Yeah, I told you he was a degenerate. I froze, none of the delusion I was forming in my mind. I could hear her voice mixed in with her breathing. It was soft, like a whisper. And weak, far weaker than you'd think from the haughty way she always spoke. Daddy. She was mumbling. Her eyes were still closed. She wasn't awake yet. I was relieved to see that she hadn't read my mind and found out what I'd been thinking a second ago. A small tear came down from one of her closed eyes. And then it fell on my cheek. It was so warm, but it quickly cooled. Even Senna cried sometimes, huh? I started to feel a little depressed. When it happened between her and her father. A lot. I tried speaking to her. Her body shivered. Her eyes slowly opened. Her eyes met at point-blank distance. She was staring at me. Her eyes were only half open, like she was still asleep. Hello, Dawn. Welcome on in. How's it going? Don't look at me. It's embarrassing. And then, after a moment, her face began to turn red. Her eyes went wide as she looked around her.
これは
What's going
どうな
on?
ってる？
動いちゃ
Don't
ダ
move.
メだ。
The rubble will crush you.
瓦礫に押しつぶされちゃうから。
瓦礫
Rubble? I explained to her that we'd been buried alive in the earthquake.
そうか。
I see.
確
I
か
do
あの
remember
時
the
す
shaking.
ごい揺れが来て
And then that huge monitor
上
fell
から
down.
大きなモニターが落ちてきてお前が
You saved me.
私を助け
Didn't
てく
you?
れたんだったな。
I did, actually. I remembered that. I had no idea how I'd done it, but I had.
礼を言う。
Thank you.
私が
promised to
守ってやる
protect
約
you.
束だったんだが
I
な。
didn't think you'd end up saving me
まさか
instead.
西条に助けられるとは。もっとダメな
I
や
thought
つ
you
だと
were a
思っていた
loser.
が、
I guess you're more of a man
意
than I
外と
assumed
男
you
らしいじゃ
were.
ないか。
どうも。
Thanks. And that wasn't something I ever expected to hear. It might have been the first time in my life I'd gotten a compliment from a 3D girl. I'm not sure that was a compliment, but anyway. And of course, Sayata-tan was always telling me how amazing I was.
だが、
But this situation isn't
この
good at
状
all.
況は
You don't
良くな
say.
いな。
We're
密着
pressed up
してる
together
もんね。
really tight, yeah.
バカ、
You idiot.
そうじゃない
That's
だ
not
ろ。
what I meant.
ここで
I
生
meant
き埋
that
め
we're
になってる
buried
人の方だ。
alive. Sorry.
まあ、
Well,
密
it's
着
not
して
good
る
that
の
we're
も
pressed up together
良くない
either.
状況だが。
セナの
Use your
ギガロマニアック
gigomaniac
の
power
力
to
で
save us.
なんとかして
You
よ。
can do that,
で
right?
きるでしょ。
難しいかも
It
しれ
might
な
be
いが、
hard, but it's worth a
や
try.
るだけやってみよう。
Nishijo, look into my
西条、
eyes.
私の目を見ろ。
Huh?
な
Why?
んで？
お前と私の
We're
間
going
で
to create a shared
周囲共
awareness
通認
between
識
you
を
and me.
作るためだ。
Look in her eyes. It was already embarrassing enough being so close. If I looked into her eyes, I might lose control entirely.
ぐずぐずするな。
Stop wasting
聞こ
time.
えなかったの
Did you
か？
not hear me?
私の
Look
目を見
into
ろ。
my eyes. I reluctantly obeyed. I gazed into Senna's eyes. She was gazing back at me. New 3-suit stream streak. Let's go. Yeah, indeed. Hydrate. Okay. The silence is loud. This is really embarrassing. I never locked eyes with a girl for so long. I never looked people in the eyes when I spoke anyway, so I wasn't used to this. The fact that her eyes meant naturally that she was looking at only me right now. And it was reflected in her eyes, and nothing else was. I was feeling her whole vision, and I was so close. Just imagining it made this embarrassing situation seem as sexual as a scene in an H game. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have H game brain. So true. Wait, no delusions. Senna was staring into my eyes. What if she could tell what I was thinking? Gym time, let's go. Have fun at the gym, Dawn. Yeah, thanks for popping in, though. I appreciate it. Of course, I knew that you couldn't read somebody's thoughts by looking into their eyes. But Senna was a giglomaniac, and I'd already seen what Kozupi could do. Anyway, this was impossible. You can't stare into a girl's eyes.
西条、
Nishijo,
目をそらす
don't
な。
look away. Wait, Senna wasn't looking at me either. Like,
僕
just
には
can't.
そ
I
うか。
see.
実
Neither
はそ
can
の
I, actually.
私も無理だ。
Y'all,
こんな
so
近い距離じゃ
close. It's
照
embarrassing.
れる。
Seeing Senna's face this red was a new experience. It was really Moe. Wait, maybe she wasn't 3D at all. No 3D girl could be this cute. Senna, you're so cute. Senna! Sweat was forming on her forehead and along her neck. It was close enough that I could smell it, buddy. And there was no wind. We were trapped here under the rubble. We'd been in trouble if there was no way for air to get in. Was there? No, we'd run out of oxygen before too long. Come to think of it, Senna was running short of breath. Her rather small chest was heaving up and down at a fast pace on top of me. No, are you
Masaka,
having trouble breathing?
息苦しい。
You're feeling secondhand embarrassment? Fair.
うるさい。
Shut up.
暑い
I'm
だけだ。
hot, that's all. Damn it. Was she telling the truth or not? And why wouldn't she just use her Giglomaniac power already? She could just make all the rubble disappear like a magic trick, right?
西条、
Nishijo,
お前の力
can
で
you use your
なん
power?
とかならないか。この状況じ
You
ゃ
can't focus like
私
this.
はうまく集中できない。
What? She wanted me to help? What the hell was I supposed to do? And I'd saved Ayase by making that flower bed. Even when I'd saved Senna back there. It's just been a coincidence. I didn't meant to do it at all. Don't come to me for help. I want you to help me. And stop breathing on me like that. It's torture. I mean it. A drop of her sweat fell into my mouth. It was salty. Oh god. Please, no. I thought I was going to cry. My mind was about to shatter into a million pieces. I just tasted her sweat. I had fallen into my mouth.
おい、
Hey,
西条。
Nishijo. Her face was red, but I could see she was angrier than she'd been a moment ago.
お前、
I'm going to kill
Chorus.
you. Haha, why? All I had done was taste her sweat. Why did she have to kill me over it? She was the one who drifted in my mouth in the first place. I hate reading all of this.
この状況
At
で
a time like
よ
this,
くそんな。
how can you? Then she buried her face in my chest before she finished her sentence. Like she couldn't take any more embarrassment. Maybe she hadn't even meant to do it, but for me, it was the most powerfully cute thing she could have done. God, she's so cute. And her breath was going through the gaps in my clothes and right onto my skin. Senna gasped and looked up. Oh, I wanted her to keep doing it.
Yeah,
Stop
yamero yo.
it. What are you
Omae-
thinking?
何を考えてるんだ。
She was clearly panicking. Maybe Senna was so used to being in charge that she was weak when somebody else got aggressive.
今すぐ
Seal that delusion away, Nishijo. Now.
妄想を封印しろ、西条。
That
Oh,
thing
mano,
on your
so-
crotch.
えっと、
It's getting harder.
股間
Touching my thigh,
no,
you
arriba.
idiot.
硬くなって私の太ももに当たってるんだ、バカが。
What? Now that she mentioned it, I could feel it. The softness of Senna's thigh.
妄想するなと
I
言ってん
said
だろ。
stop. Suddenly she had me. I can't read. Let's try this again. Suddenly she headbutted me right in the face. It was strong and caught me off guard, and it knocked me clean out. Let's go. I'm not going back to the cosmic church of the divine light. A shame, really. You had such a high opinion of your talents. You mean you were using me? I don't believe anything you say anymore. I know that the public image of you, Dai Kudamochi, the great holy church leader, is nothing but a lie. You wanted the salvation of the divine light, didn't you? You did, once, but not anymore. So what do you want now, then? Death. Atonement. Those who have touched the divine light once can no longer leave its grace. You may think you've left it behind, but the light will never leave you. I'm done relying on God for help. I've created something whose power rivals God. He will not allow me to receive his salvation.
西条
Nishijo,
起きろ
wake up.
西条
Nishijo. I've been listening to a really pretentious conversation between two men I didn't recognize. I'd heard Senna's whispers in the gaps between their words, and that woken me up. We were still pressed together. The rubble was all around us, and we couldn't escape. You chose this future of your own free will. Everything that's happened is your responsibility. But it's far too great a burden for one person to bear, isn't it? The salvation of the divine light could lighten your burdens. Yes, this was my choice. I followed the guidance of the divine light. Or rather, I did what you told me to.
誰かいる
Someone's out there.
話し声
I
が
could
聞こ
hear
え
their
る
voices, right? I nodded. I could hear two men's voices. They were saying something about the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. They were in a rescue team, if nothing else.
あいつだ
It's him.
あい
He's
つが
close.
近くにいる
He's close. Could clearly hear the sound of her clenching her jaw. I've had enough of your fancy words, Yudai Kudamochi. Nothing you say matters to me anymore. A shame, of course. Without your help, NoAH 2 is already complete. And that's left now is to send out our will to the rest of the world. You don't mean our will, you mean your will, and the will of Kozui and Hana. Indeed. With the success of the third Project NoAH has passed the prototype stage. The third voice. What were they talking about? Or were they speaking? If we could hear them, they had to be somewhere near the spot where we were buried. Maybe we weren't buried as deeply as I thought. Senna was fidgeting. Her hands were clinging tightly to my uniform. Tightly, as if she were trying to keep control. Her gaze was lowered. She wasn't looking at me. World order will no longer be kept by 300 men, but by 2. Today is the dawn of a new era. Suddenly, I saw light. The rubble around us began to collapse. Senna gasped and looked up. A hand was reaching down from above, in between the gaps in the rubble.
無事か
Are you
Senna.
okay, Senna?
前
You. My hand reached her out, pulled her out. I can't speak, Jesus. Or read. My hand pulled her out, with her off me. I could move much more easily than before. I called out of the gap. We were in a room of the Nozomi building. It was the room we'd been trapped in. I was willing to let you be useful, just like Norose, and yet you refuse. So you'd rather live as cattle than be a ruler. Most of the monitors had fallen, and the screens had cracked. Of course, they were all black. The walls were crumbling too, but it wasn't as bad as I'd thought. We were buried alive, but not by that much rubble. We could have escaped any time we wanted to. I felt like an idiot for not moving because I was scared of being crushed.
セナ
Senna. Senna was standing in front of me and I didn't recognize. His eyes were milky, and he was wearing a filthy coat. He looked like he was homeless. He is homeless, so... I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before, but I couldn't remember where. Maybe we just passed each other in Shibuya somewhere. And there was no one there but the two of them. The two voices we'd heard, that of the Cosmic Church's leader and the Diet member, coming out of a speaker somewhere in the room. Oh, Hatono. I see you've had a touching reunion with your daughter. Daughter. Senna was his daughter. I remembered hearing the name Hatana from Senna before. I hope you enjoy it, and when you're done, you can watch as the world changes forever. Once NoAH 2 comes online at full power, its effects will extend to the entire world. The required network is already in place. Suddenly, the voice from the speaker stopped. I heard a strange sound. The power to the speakers had shut off. Something had happened. What was that?
銃声
A gunshot. After the gunshot, we heard panting in a ragged, frail voice. Impossible. This wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to rule the world. A dying scream. And at midway, and no further sound came from the speaker. It was a strange silence. What had just happened? Was he killed?
殺された
Killed?
誰に
By who?
知らな
I
い
don't know. Where had they been when they were talking to us through that speaker? Somewhere close? It had to be somewhere in the building at least. Which meant that whoever killed them, they were right nearby us. Let's get out of here. The murderer might come here.
だから
But who killed them?
殺人鬼って
Why
誰
were
だ
they killed?
なんであの二
No.
人は
What
殺
makes
さ
you
れた
think they were killed?
殺されたと判断した根拠は
The gunshots and the screaming? Yeah, the gunshots and the screaming.
落ち着け
Calm down,
Senna.
Senna.
お前には聞い
I'm
てない
not talking to you.
悲鳴
You heard the scream, right?
殺されたとし
They
か
have
思
to
えな
have
い
been
よ
killed. But who killed them? Shogun? But Shogun was working for Nozomi, right? No, that was just a guess I'd made. I didn't have any evidence for it at all.
逃げるのは
It might be a
少し
little
面倒
difficult
だ
to get out of here.
このビルは
This
崩れかか
building
っ
is
てい
falling
る
apart. There are
あち
cracks
こちに
everywhere.
歪みが生じている私がこの部
Just
屋に
after
入
I
ってき
came
た
into
と
the
ころに
room, the entrance was
入り
blocked
口
by
が瓦礫
rubble.
で塞がれてしまった
Hanuna was right. But it felt like there was an awful lot of rubble on the ground compared to the damage on the walls. And it felt wrong. But of course, I'd never been to any abandoned buildings before. I really didn't know how much rubble was normal or how walls looked when they collapsed. What I did know, however, was that we'd escaped from being buried alive, but we were still trapped.
ディソードで
I
壊せ
can
ばい
just
い
destroy it with my D-sword. I finally realized that the strange high-pitched noise I'd heard when we were locked in that room had vanished. The earthquake must have destroyed the device making the noise. The porter? Was that what they were called? Maybe Senna could do something then. Relieved, I waited for Senna to make us a way out. But instead of summoning her sword, she was just staring at Hatano.
あの二人と
What were
何を
you
話してい
talking
た
about with those two?
昔
Old
話だ
times, and how we'll never
互い
be
に
able
分
to
か
come
り合
to
うこ
an
とのできない
understanding.
ね
分かり合うことのできない
You sure about that? You're sure
本当
you're
に
not
そう
still
か
connected to them
今で
somehow?
もつながりがあるんじゃないのかこの半
Where
年
have you been these last
ど
6
こで何を
months?
していた
What have you been doing?
今になってこ
Why
の
did
場所
you
に
appear
都合
here
よく
now
現
at
れたの
such a
はなぜだ
convenient time?
このビル
You
の
were
どこか
watching
で
us somewhere in
私
this
たちをモニ
building,
タしてい
weren't
たから
you?
じゃないのか
私はこ
I
の
spent
半
the
年
last 6 months wandering
渋
around
谷を徘
Shibuya,
徊していただけ
waiting to
の
die.
死にたがりだ転生進
I
行
wasn't
界
planning on going back
のぞみテクノロジーにも
I
戻るつ
wasn't planning on going back to the church or to Nozomi. Senna snarled at him before turning to me.
あの二人が
What
殺さ
makes
れ
you
たと思う
think
根
those
拠
two
は
were killed? Huh?
それはだか
Because
ら
I heard
彼らは
they
敵
have a
が
lot
多
of
い
enemies. I don't know, interrupted.
誰に殺さ
A
れ
new
ても
number of people could have killed them.
お前には
I
聞い
told
て
you,
ないと言って
I'm
いるだろ
not talking to you.
でも
But
ほ
we
ら
heard the
悲鳴
screams
とか銃声
and
が
the
聞こえて
gunshots.
本当にそう
You're
か
sure about that?
単なる演
It
技
isn't
の可能性
possible
は
that it's all an act.
そもそもスピ
When
ーカ
we
ーから
heard them
聞こえていたあの
speaking,
二人の声
how
は
do we know it was
リアル
in
タイム
real
のものか
time? Good point. What did she mean?
地震対策がしっ
Japanese
かりしている
buildings
日本で
could take earthquakes
のぞみグループ
seriously.
という日本を
We're
代
inside
表する
the
巨大企
HQ
業の
of one
本
of the
社ビル
nation's biggest
これ
companies.
ほどの地震
They
被害
wouldn't
を
have
受けて
skimped on the construction costs. Look at the size of the damage around us.
それだけ
The
とんでも
earthquake
ない地震
that
が起
just
きたと
hit
いう
was
ことだ
massive.
そんな状
So
況で
if we just had a
なぜ
massive
あの二人
earthquake,
は
why
こ
were
の部
those
屋の
two
スピー
sitting
カー
in
で
front of
ベラ
microphones
ベラと裏事情を
telling us
話し
all
て
their
くれたの
secrets? There's a small gap between her words, as though she was still trying to figure this out for herself. Their secrets, Noah too, the third melt. I had understood most of what they'd said.
これ見よがしに
It
感じる
feels planned.
奴
Like
ら
there
は
was
裏
some
事情
reason
を
they needed us to
私た
hear
ちに意
it.
図的に聞かせる必要があったのかもしれないあの二人は
Are
実
those
在し
two
ている
even
のか
real?
地
Is it
震が起き
possible
る
they
前
died
に
before the
すでに死ん
earthquake?
でいた可能性は西条
Nishijo,
私
we
もお
didn't
前
run
も
into them
この
once
ビルに乗
after
り込んで
coming
からあの
inside
二人
this
とは一度
building.
も会っていない
Did we?
そうだ
Am I wrong?
でもモニタ
But they
ー
were
で喋って
talking
た
on the monitor.
モニタの
On
中
the
で
monitor, right?
だろ
We didn't
実
actually
際に会
see
ったわ
them.
けじゃない
There were any number of
Anna.
ways to fake
い
that.
くらでも細工できるスピーカ
And
ーにつ
even
い
more
ても
ways
言
to
うま
fake
で
the
もない
voices from the speakers.
何か変だ
Something's not right.
不可解だ
This doesn't make
それに
sense.
私は
And I'm... Haruno interrupted her. He was looking at me intently.
西条
Takumi, Nishijo.
匠君
So that's
君
you.
がそうなのか
I hate this point of view of him, not gonna lie. He looks like a dirty, washed up rat.
そう
I
か
see.
君
You're
が
the one then.
動くな
Don't move. Sena's tone was sharp as a knife.
もう一度聞く
I'll ask you again, or
Oh
ask
my.
again. What are you
なぜここ
doing
にいる
here?
お前たち
I
を
came
助
to
けに
save you. No,
いや
I came to be killed.
殺されに
To tell
来た
the
という
truth.
のが本心かもしれない
心配しなく
Don't
てもすぐ
worry,
に
I'll
殺
kill
して
you
やる
soon.
で
But
もそ
first,
の前に
answer my
質
question.
問に答えろ私たちがここ
How
にい
did
る
you
こ
know
とを
we were here?
どうして知っていた
強い
I felt a
心
strong
の呼
cry
びか
from
け
the
を
heart.
感じた
ギガロマニアックス
You're
で
no
もないお前が
Gigalomaniac.
どうしてそ
How
れ
are
を
you
感じ
able
ること
to
がで
feel
きるんだ
anything?
いや
No.
ギガロ
Only a
マニア
small
ックスで
fraction
さ
of
え
Gigalomaniacs
心の呼び
are
かけなんてい
capable
う
of
曖昧な
hearing
妄想を
anything
感知で
like
きるのは
a cry
ご
from
く
the
一部
heart.
だけだ
Like Kozupi, maybe. Come to think of it, where was Kozupi? Was she caught in the earthquake? I hope she was okay.
本当に感じ
Did
た
you
のか
really feel it?
最初か
Or
ら知っ
did
て
you
い
know
たんじゃ
about
ないの
this
か
from the start?
私たち
that we
がこの
were
部屋におびき寄
lured
せられたことを
冷静にな
Calm
れ
it
てな
down, Senna. Your
憎し
hatred
みに
is taking
心
over
を支
your
配されてい
mind.
るぞ
冷静に
Calm
なれだ
down. The person I've
ず
wanted
っ
to
と
kill
殺した
for
いと思っ
ages
てい
is
た
right
人間
here
を目
in
の前
front
に
of
し
me.
て
How am I
冷静で
supposed
い
to
られるは
stay
ずがないだ
calm?
ろ
考えすぎてはいけ
Don't
ない
overthink things.
物
This
事
isn't a
は
complicated
陰謀論ほ
conspiracy.
ど複雑では
It's
ない
quite simple.
もっとシンプルだ
この場にお
There's
前
no
が現れ
good
るのは
goddamn reason for me to be here
都合が良すぎるんだ。
right now.
最初から仕組
This
まれた
whole
ことじゃ
thing
ない
was
の
a
か
setup, wasn't it?
この部屋に
You
お
were
びき出
lured
されて
here,
監禁された私
then
た
the
ち
earthquake happened,
地震
and then you show
直後
up,
に現
right
れ
in
たお
time
前
to
という
save
存
us.
在
Not the
スピーカ
same
ーからの
time. There's
こ
this
れ見
long
よがしの
speech
陰
right
謀
out
論
of a
風な演
conspiracy
説とその不可解
thriller
な中
coming
断
out of the speakers, which cuts off with an ominous gunshot.
そもそも
There's no
この
evidence
部屋
this
が
is
望
even
み
a
のビルであ
Nozomi
る確証も
building.
ない
What if we were
私
moved
たちが
somewhere
気絶
else
して
while
い
we
る
were
間に
passed out?
別の場所に運び込まれていたとしたら望みの
This
ビル
room
に内
looks
装
like
だ
the
け
one
模
in
して
the
ある部
Nozomi
屋
building.
地震など起きていなくて
There was no
散乱している
earthquake.
瓦礫も自意
Probably
的に
here was
配置した
placed
も
by
の
someone. And the more she talked, the less I knew what to believe. I felt like all the things I thought I knew were crumbling one by one.
疑心暗鬼
Paranoia will
己
get
を
you
滅
killed.
ぼす
Get yourself together,
気をし
Senna.
っかり持てセナ
I don't want to hear you say my name. I'm not here to have a conversation with you. Now answer me.
地震は
The
起きた
earthquake was real.
確実に
It
だ
happened. Almost every building in
渋谷のあら
Shibuya
ゆる
has
建
either
物が崩壊
collapsed
しか
or
かっ
is
ている
about to. Casualties will likely
死
run
傷
into
者
the
は
four
4
digits.
桁以上だろ
それを証
Do
明
you
する
have a
方
way
法
to
を持ってい
prove
るの
that?
か。
うその壁を崩して
Destroy
み
that
る
wall with your D sword.
お前の
Senna waved her right hand, as if knocking something away. The D sword appeared instantly. She brought it down on the wall without any hesitation whatsoever. It sliced clean through, like a hot knife through butter. The wall collapsed, and a cold, strong wind blew into our faces. We could see what lay beyond it. What I saw was... a city of death. Just a few hours ago, Shibuya had been a bustling city, filled with bright lights and noise blasting from big TVs in the square. Now, almost every building I recognized as a landmark had collapsed. The ones that hadn't were either tilting over or had huge cracks running down them. Not a single car was running through the streets. In some places, the asphalt had fallen in. In others, it had risen up. There was black smoke rising up all over the city, vanishing into a muddy gray sky. That was what we saw as we looked down from the skyscraper. Senna was just being paranoid and had been having an influence on me. This was, without doubt, the 31st floor of Nozomi HQ, and the earthquake was real. There was no telling when the building would collapse. If it did, I'd be dead in seconds. I'd be crushed under 100 tons of rubble. Maybe they'd never even find my corpse. We should get out of here now. I shuddered and looked around the room. My eyes stopped, instinctively, on one of the objects on the floor. One of the monitors.
単なる地震で
An earthquake
ここまで
wouldn't
被害
cause
が
this
大きく
kind
な
of
るはずがな
damage.
い。ノア2
Was it NoAH 2?
そうだ
That's right.
サ
The
ード
third
メル
melt. The final test
NoAH
of
2
NoAH
の
2's
最終稼
capabilities.
働実験だ
Half of the LCD screen had shattered completely. The other half was still turned on. It felt like it hadn't been turned on a moment ago, but I couldn't be sure.
サードメルト。
The third melt.
お前も
Are
関わ
you
ってい
part
るの
of
か。
it?
言っただろ
I told you. I ran
う
away
私は
from
もう
Nozomi
半
over 6
年以
months
上前
ago.
に望みから逃げ出した人間だよ
望みだけじゃ
Not
ない。
just Nozomi.
お前
You
は
ran from me,
私や
Mom, my little
Kasai.
sister too.
妹からも逃げたんだ。
ああ
Yeah,
認め
I admit it. I half ignored Sena's and Hatanu's awkward conversation as I knelt down in front of the monitor. Letters. There were letters on the screen. What the hell was this? Takumi, are you seeing this? Kin Ozambi. A chat conversation? You're saying my name. Why? Saying what? This was really creepy. Who was writing this? Her name was all messed up. How did they know my name? How did they know I was here? Was it Grim? Maybe he never told me. He was actually a super hacker? Daru? Or was it Shogun again? Was he reading my mind and ready to give me a new quest? An image of Nanami covered in blood flashed through my mind. Right, Nanami was captured somewhere. If this was something involving Nanami, and I didn't answer her, this time they might just kill her. I put the keyboard next to the monitor on my lap and let out a soft, wordless moan. I didn't even know if this keyboard was connected to the monitor. Praying, I pressed the N key. The letter appeared on the monitor. From the look of it, I could type in the chat as guessed. I'd answered N, or no, to the question, because it hadn't been specific. What was this I was supposed to be seeing? That is. Without knowing the answer, I couldn't say why or yes, especially if Nanami's life was on the line. If you answer the question, that means you're seeing this. They answered me. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what I figured what the question was about, but Takumi was fair to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm glad we were able to contact you. This is the Committee of 300. Huh? Not Shogun? The Committee of 300? Been hearing that name a lot today. Inohana and Kuramochi, who've probably been killed a moment ago, both said they were members of the Committee of 300.
西条
Nishijo,
どうした
what's wrong? She appeared on the monitor from behind me.
なんだそれは
What is that?
わからない
I don't know.
僕
They
に
said my
名指しで
name.
呼びかけてきて
Sana Aoi. We're monitoring your presence there as well. Takumi Nishijo, Sana Aoi, Issei, Hatano. The three of you are all there, yes. Both Sana and I jerked our heads upwards toward the ceiling. Is there a security camera watching us? I saw a few things that looked like cameras, but all of them had been destroyed in the earthquake. None of them were moving. The other monitors were all silent too.
そいつ何者だ
Who is this? This is the Committee of
何をバカ
300. We've already
300
introduced
人委員会だと証
ourselves.
明することはできるのか
Absolutely ridiculous. Can you prove it?
西条
Nishijo,
そう打ち込め
type that to them. Huh?
うん
Okay. I went to type it, but before I could, the words appeared on the monitor. No need to use the keyboard. The cameras aren't in that room. I can assure you that we aren't using any kind of gadgets from your
なんなんだ
world. Your world? The easiest way to explain it is to say that we're monitoring you from a god's eye view, on a level higher than the one you exist on. The concepts and systems involved are beyond your ability to understand. And unfortunately, there's no way for us to prove to you that we're the Committee of 300. You'll just have to believe us. What the hell?
ノア
Is
2の
some
攻
kind of
撃
attack from NoAH
それ
2?
とも
Or a delusion attack from a Gigalomaniac?
西条
Nishijo,
こいつが
is it
将軍の
possible
可能
that
性
this
は
is Shogun? How the hell could I tell from a few lines of chat? I shook my head with tears in my eyes, and then I answered with a glare.
さっき
Aren't they
井ノ原
probably
と
the
倉
one
持
who
を
killed
殺した
Inohana
殺
and
人鬼じゃ
Kuremochi?
いや
No.
む
The
しろ
most
可能性が
likely
一番高いのは
possibility is that this is
こ
either
いつが井ノ原
Kuremochi
か倉
or
持のどちら
Inohana
かということだろ
themselves. We're saying they're part
う
of the
300人
Committee
委員
of
会を名乗ってる
300
ぐらい
after
だ
all.
しな
Senna pointed the D-sword at Hatano. It was huge and sharp. She was waving it around with one hand. Just one
あ
hand.
るいは
Or
お前
maybe
の差し金による
this
罠
is
かも
your
しれない
doing.
私がこ
Why
の
would
よ
I
うな細
bother
工をす
setting
る
up
意
a
味
trick
は
like
ない
this? It was exhausting, having a monitor on the floor. I had to crouch down to read the text in the darkness. I knocked the rubble off the table and put the monitor on top of it.
倉持と井ノ
There
原以
might be
外に
another member of the
300
committee
人委員
besides
会メンバー
Inohana
かもしれない
Kuremochi. There are 300 members after
何し
all.
ろ300人いるのだから
I mean,
いずれにせよ
if they're real,
こい
that
つが
is.
本物ならという前提がつく自分から
And the
名乗
bad
る
guy
黒
only
幕は
gives the hero his name in
ドラマや
movies
映
and
画の中
TV
だけだ
shows.
本物か偽
Whether
物か
they're
とい
real
う
or
判
not
断
isn't our priority right now.
今はそれほど優先されるべきことではない重要なのは
What's important is whether
こ
the
の
self-proclaimed
自称
member of the
300人委
Committee
員
of
会メン
300
バーが
is the one who killed
井ノ
Kuremochi
原
and
と倉持を
Inohana.
殺した殺人鬼なのかそうでないかだ
こいつが犯人
Ryude, Kuremochi, and Inohana. They were the ones who killed them? The two men really had been killed? They were trying to betray us, you see. Of course, you've been well aware of this for some time now.
委
We
員
didn't
会メン
eliminate
バー
them
同士
because they were a threat.
内部構
The
成
chance of their plan succeeding was zero. For programs with errors must be eliminated. Consider it debugging. An eternal struggle between members of the committee.
倉持たちが
They
モ
might
ニターして
be
いた部屋か
contacting
ら
us from the room
コン
where
タクトしてきてい
Kuremochi
る
and
かもしれない
Inohana were.
でも
But,
だ
but
ったらなん
then,
で
why not
スピーカーを使わない
use
の
the speaker?
声を聞かれたくな
They
いから
don't
と
want us to hear their voices or
正体
know
を
who
知られ
they
たく
are.
ないんだ。
僕ら
So
の知っ
it's
てる
somebody who knows us.
書き込んでい
The
る
man
男
typing
は
to us is
かな
extremely
り慎重だと
cautious.
いうことだよ。
No, I don't even know if it's a man.
男かどうかも不明だが。
この書き込みを
What
し
if
ている
it's
のが
Inohana
井
or
の花か倉持
Kuramochi?
で
And they
単な
just
る自
faked
作
their
自演だ
death.
としたら
井の花と倉
You
持
mean
の
the
二
two
人
of
で
them
の
had a falling out?
仲違いだというのか。
そうかもしれないし
Possibly.
実は
Or
二
both
人とも
are
生きてい
alive
て
and trying to
私たち
deceive
を騙し
us.
ているだけかもしれない
騙す意図
Do you
に
have
つい
any
て
ideas as to
推
why they'd
測
want
で
to
きて
do
いるの
that?
か。
You seem to have misunderstood.
だったら
Neither Inohana
何者
nor
だって言うんだ
Kuramochi were members of the committee
神
of
だとでも言うつもり
300.
か
They were simply convinced that they were, because we convinced them. Through convenient pawns, cover. This is equally true for anyone who appears in the things you read about the Committee of 300. The true committee never reveals itself to the public. It couldn't, even if it wanted to do such a thing. It doesn't exist in your world. Then what the hell are you? Are you trying to tell me you're God?
このチャット相手
It
と
might
の
be
議
a
論
bad idea to try
し
and
ない
argue
方がい
with
いか
them.
もしれない。
We don't know what they want,
相手の意図
with
が不
nothing
明
but
だ。
words to go on. There are any number of ways for them to slip in
い
fake
くらでもフェイクの
information.
情報を織り交ぜることができる。
But at the same time, there isn't really much reason for them to lie either. I don't know. He had a point, but the person in the chat kept typing. I had no idea who this kid in parentheses and dollar sign was, but they knew a frightening amount about us. The word God is relatively accurate. There are 300 of us, each with an assigned jurisdiction. All of us exist to control and administer your world. We erase errors and construct order. That is what it means to control. So you're saying... Something came into my mind as I read the words. It was a thought that I'd had many times before.
あなたは
So you're the
ゲー
game
ムマスターってい
masters?
うこと？
ゲームマスター
Game masters?
どういう意味だ
What does that mean?
演出
It
で言え
means
ば
the developers
開
or
発者側ってこと
admins, like in
もっとわかりやすく
ESO,
言うなら
the people running the
中の
game
人
from
だ
the
よ
inside.
ちっともわか
I
らない
don't understand that at all. Senna rubbed her temples and frowned. Kids these days. Takumi Nichijo's explanation is accurate.
マジで
You're the game master who
おー
administers
来たこれ
the MMORPG's operations. Your characters, whether player or non-player. Wait, seriously? Oh, I was right. I was right. It's not a great thing to be right about, you silly. NPC, short for non-player character, phrase originating in tabletop RPGs, but now used in online games as well. Any character not controlled by the player. The theory that made me have all the solutions about someone else controlling me was right. Yeah, but how often does Taku guess anything correctly? Listen. There really was someone else in control of me. Somebody was controlling me, the exact same way I controlled Nightheart. Then tell this to the person controlling me. Tell them to remake their character. Tell them to get good at the game this time.
僕を操作する腕を上げろって
Let him have a little win as a treat, maybe. I screamed at the monitor. I could tell Senna was looking at me, confused. We contacted you because we have a request. If you help us, we're prepared to give you the cheat code. Cheat code? This is incredible. A cheat code is like a way to do things you shouldn't be able to do. In ESO, you could use the codes to make a level 1 character achieve level 50 in an instant, or get a super rare item with a drop rate of 0.025% without doing any work at all.
もし
If I had the
チート
cheat
コード
code,
があるなら
I wouldn't be able
僕
to
はもう
otaku
弱敵キモ
anymore.
タじゃなくなるんだ。本当の
Maybe I
勇者
could
になれ
really
るか
be
も
a hero.
三次元女子と
Maybe
も
I could
気を取ら
talk
ず
to
に
3D girls
喋られ
without
るようになる
stammering all the time. This is the completely unexpected plot twist I've been waiting for. I could be the strongest character, loved by all the girls, without having to do any work at all. I could spend my life playing on God mode with max stats and best in slot gear. God mode, a term for computer gaming. The name dates back to a cheat code in one of the earliest big first-person shooter games. It refers to a state where you are extremely strong and the enemies are very weak. That is the wrong weak. A lot of fun since you can just roll over the enemies without any resistance. Yes, I love you, Committee of 300. You are God. I'm so hyped. Lol, lol, lol. God, 2000s era Japanese message boards, i.e. during the time Chaos had is set. In case you forgot. It was common to write the word God in a particularly strange way, with the kanji for God, kami, being broken into two parts, ne and... I don't know that one. Unfortunately, this idea does not translate into a non-ideogram-based language like English, unless you wanted to force Takumi to speak you. Who's the 2000s era elite speak, or even worse, try to force him to use long forgotten memes, which would just be embarrassing for everybody. Screams. The screams.
それがチートコー
Do
ド
you
だとし
think
て
this cheat code really
本当にある
exists?
と思うのか
The person we're talking to seems like it's
このチャット相手は
some
工事
kind of
存在ら
higher
しいわ
dimensional being.
そんな神の
Could
ような
somebody
存在
like
が
that use the same
私たち
words
と
and
同じ言
language
葉や
as we
用語を
do?
使っているのはなぜだ
I mean, I don't see why not.
これは罠だ
This is a trap. Unfortunately, the
奇弁だ。
hypothesis is incorrect. We're using words you can understand. Our usual language doesn't exist in your world. Bullshit. It's up to you whether you believe me or
僕
not.
は
If you
信
don't,
じ
we'll
る
find another method. I believe. I want to believe. I'm tired of living my life being afraid of everything. If I could get a power greater than Shogun's, I wouldn't have to be afraid for the rest of my life. Thank you for your cooperation, Takumi Nichijo. We want you to remove an error, what you call
なぜ
Noetsu.
自らの
It
力
has a
を行
profoundly
使しない
negative effect on game balance. It may even damage game data. If you're God, why don't you use your power to do it yourself? The influence of Noah 2 has left your world running in autistic
頭が痛くな
mode.
ってくる
But it is no longer responding to our attempts to interact with it. Regardless, a game master does not intervene directly. We're simply administrators. We need your cooperation to remove the error. Autistic mode. Okay. My head's starting to hurt. That's so valid, Sana.
口から出
And
ま
this
かすに
feels
し
like
か
pure
思えない
nonsense to me.
直接
We
介入で
can't
きないとい
intervene
うなら
directly.
どうやっ
How'd
て
you
井
get
ノ
rid
原
of
と倉持を
Inohana and
排除した
Kuramochi? Well, obviously telling one of the characters to do something about it. Duh. We have other
協力じゃなくて
cooperators. Debuggers,
私
you
た
could
ちを
call
利用し
them.
たいだけだろ
But they lack the power to destroy Noah 2. And Giggling Maniac's power is needed. You don't want our cooperation. You want to use us. Did I get another tip? Yeah, debugger. Debugging is the process of fixing a problem by removing bugs from it. Debuggers can be either people or dedicated software programs. The world has autism. We need you to correct it, autistic child. Chaos Head 2009. No, 2008, you goober. Another way of describing the situation, we will not deny
そ
it.
れは
Where our attentions are aligned at
確かに。
this point, we believe. That's true.
巧妙だな
Clever.
一連の書き
The
込みを
words on
見て
the screen can be taken to indicate
300人
the
委員
Committee
会
of
は
300
実
exists,
在している
but also that it doesn't.
実在していないとも取れるこれが
And this could
ノア
also be
2
an
による
attack by
攻
Noah
撃である
2.
可能性もある
But it's true that Kuromochi and Inohara were trying to betray the Committee 300, right?
本当のことだったじゃないか。あいつ
Mm,
ら自身
they
が
said so
そう説明して
themselves.
たよ。
あの時点か
And
ら
what
妄
if the
想による
delusion
攻撃
attack
が
was
始まって
already
いたと
underway
したら
then?
さっきも
I
言っただ
told
ろ
you just a minute ago.
モニタやス
There's
ピ
no
ー
way
カー
to
で喋
prove
っていた
that what
井
you
ノ花と
you
倉持
saw
が
on the
本物であ
monitors
る
and
証
heard
拠
on
は
the speakers was
一
really
つもない
them.
さっきから
Senna, you've just been doubting everything since we woke
疑って
up.
ばかりじゃないか。
この状
The
況
only
で
thing you can
信
believe
じられ
in
るの
this
は自分だけ
situation
だ
is yourself.
世界
The
は
whole
全て
world
電気
runs
時
on
間で
electricity.
電気
You
信
can
号に
change
細
what
工するだけ
somebody
で簡
sees
単
just
に見
by
ているも
messing
のを
with the
捏造できる
signals.
ここから見える
In that destroyed city we see out there, the rubble in this
この
room.
瓦礫だらけの部屋も300
These
人以下
messages
の
from
名乗る
someone
存在から
claiming
の
to
書
be
き
the
込みも
committee of 300.
今
Even
こ
the
の場でこうして
Nishijou I'm
話している
talking
西
to,
条や
or she gave Hachino a glance.
この男です
Or
ら
this man.
偽物
They
か
might
も
all
しれ
be
ないんだ
fake.
セナ
Senna. If emotions are electrical in nature, your hatred of your father is simply something programmed into you. Human death is no different. The horrible deaths of your mother and sister should mean nothing to you. Are you prepared to tell us we're wrong? Damn. Senna clutched her jaw hard. The frown in her face deepened.
これは妄想
This
だ
is a delusion! It's also worth noting that autistic mode is a technical term, I think, from Ghost in the Shell that basically just means autonomous mode, not connected to any networks or whatever. I see. Interesting.
私の
An
心への
attack
攻
on my
撃だ
mind.
惑
You
わ
won't
されない
fool
ぞ
me.
に
Let us offer you this then. Succeed in destroying NoAH 2, and we'll bring your mother and sister back to life. What?
セナ
Senna,
言
don't
葉
be
に流される
deceived.
な
You're the one who
この
said
書き
these
込みが精
messages
神
might be
攻撃かもしれ
psychological
ないと言っ
attack.
たのは
A psychological attack. I can read.
で
But
でも
チートコー
with
ド
the
だ。
cheat code,
可
you
能か
might
も
be able to do it.
何しろ
We're talking to
相手は
God
神
after
だし
all. The entire world runs on electricity. Those were your words, Senna Aoi.
本当な
An
のか
electrical system is, at its most fundamental level, digital data. Life and death are nothing but illusions. Creating a perfect restoration of a dead woman, including her memories, is a simple matter. For a game master, that is. Is that true?
判断を誤る
Don't make a mistake here.
お前はそ
They're
う
just
信じた
telling
い
you
だけ
what
だ
you want to believe.
現
You
実
can't
に
bring
蘇
back
る
the
ことな
dead.
どない
うるさい
Shut up!
お前は
I don't
黙
want
って
to
ろ
hear what you think.
心の負い目に
They're
つけ込ま
taking
れて
advantage of the weakness in your
相
heart.
手は巧妙だ
They're clever.
こいつは神な
This
ど
is
で
no
はない
god. No, I'm
今
sure
確
of
信
it.
した
This person is just a
た
con
だの
artist.
詐欺師だ神は自己
God
完
is
結
a
した存在で
self-completing
なければな
being.
らない
He has to be.
生死の概
He
念
has
そ
no
のものを
concept
持
of
ち合わ
life
せ
or
ていない
death.
し
He can't
理解
understand
できない
them.
そういう存在だ
黙れと
I
言って
said
ん
shut
だろ
up.
お前
I'm
の
not
宗教
asking
観
you
は聞
for
い
a
てない
theology lecture. She pointed the D sword at him again.
元はといえばお前が
This
い
is
けな
all
いんだ
your fault
お前
if
が
you hadn't killed
母さんを
mom.
殺しさえしなければ
その償いは
I'm
す
going
るつ
to
もりだ
atone for it. If you want to kill me,
私
you
を
can.
殺しても構わ
In
ない
fact, I want you to.
私はそれを望むだから
So,
母
don't
さん
believe
を
these
蘇
lies
らせよう
about
などとい
bringing
う
back
虚
your
言を信じ
mother.
るな
そうやって
The
逃げ
fact that
よ
you
うと
keep
する
trying
の
to
が
run
一番
away
許
is
せ
what
ないん
makes
だ
me madder than anything. Look, now's not the time to be arguing with Daddy, okay? Maybe I should just ignore them and get the cheat code for myself.
今決めた
I just decided.
お前は
I'm not
殺さ
going
な
to
い
kill you.
ノア
I'm
2
gonna
を
destroy
破壊
Noah
して
too and bring
母
back
さんが生
mom.
き返っても
And then I won't
お
let
前
you
には
see
合
her
わせ
ever
ない
again.
そして
You
一
can
生
spend the rest of your
後悔
life
し続けろ
regretting what you did.
どこまでも純粋
You're
だ
so
な
pure-hearted, Senna.
セナ感情に突き動かされながら
But you want a
基地
world
革
that
の世
runs
界
on
の
electricity.
不安か
You contradict yourself.
お前は矛盾している。すまない。
I'm sorry.
私がお前をそうさせてしまった。
父親面
Don't
をす
try
る
to
な
act like you're my dad.
今さらそんな顔しても
It's too late for that.
私はお前を認めないおい
You,
私た
the
ちを
one
見てい
looking
るお
at
前
us. Senna screamed as she looked up at the ceiling.
チートコードの入手
Tell us how to
方
get
法
the
を教え
cheat
ろ
code. Haruno said nothing more. He just looked sad. He always looks sad. Then it settled. The cheat code has already been loaded into your world. But as we said, we're being blocked from interacting with your world. We couldn't choose where it appeared. We want you to go get it. Underground, it should be a station. Go to the coin lockers near the Fukutoshin line. It's inside locker number 1009. What about the key? Senna Aoi has one of the IC chip cards used by Japan's public transportation systems, correct? The lockers use those cards for locking, identification, and payment. We've loaded the necessary data onto her card already. Wow, God's sure on top of things.
チートコードって
What does the
ど
cheat
んな
code
形を
look
してるの
like? We can't tell from here. What kind of gadget it becomes in your world is not a major concern. No matter what form it takes, the cheat takes effect when its lock is disabled and the code is in your hands. To disable the gadget's lock, you must destroy the gadget. Your target, NoAH 2, is directly above the locker. It's in the planetarium at the east entrance to Shibuya Station. Once you've acquired the cheat code, destroy the planetarium. I'll put an end to all of this. Good luck. And then the monitor went black. I could hear a clunk sound inside as it had died. I hadn't turned it off. It turned off on its own. I was excited. I met God, the person who controlled me. Their world consisted of different layers, and I'd spoken to a being from a higher one. I was going to get the cheat code. I could say goodbye to my crappy life. I could be invincible. Nobody could scare me now. Not Shogun, not you, and not Nozumi Technologies. I'd won. For once, I was one of life's winners. I wanted to head Shibuya Station right away. I wanted that cheat code badly. But Senna wasn't as eager as I was, it looked like. Her head was slumped. She was pointing her sword at Hatano. Senna, you're not going? Senna sighed just a little when I said her name, and then lowered the weapon. She walked past Hatano without giving him another glance, and idly waved the D-sword in her hand. The rubble blocking the exit shattered into tiny pieces.
行こ
Let's go. Her voice was quiet, with no trace of the excitement present just a few moments ago. Issei Hatano watched his daughter and Takumi Nichijo leave, and then sat down in the rubble. I wanted to talk with God a little more, he'd said, and would stayed behind alone. His daughter Senna looked like she'd wanted to say something to him, but instead, she shot him an annoyed glance before turning away. She left the room without saying anything. Hatano had said nothing to her, either.
300人
Committee of 300.
まだ
Are you
見ている
still there? It said to the empty, powered off screen. There was no answer for a moment, but he kept staring. After a moment, the monitor powered itself on, and the chat window reappeared. Why? In other words, yes.
なぜ
Why Senna
セナと
and Takumi Nichijo?
西条匠なんだ
Of the Gigglu maniacs present in Shibuya,
300人
they were the
委員会
ones we were most likely to contact
こちらの
successfully.
世界はど
No
のよう
other
な定義
reason. What does the Committee of 300 define this world as?
実験場か
A video game? A testing
牧場
lab?
か
A cattle ranch? If you're referring to the human cultivation project, that's nothing but a delusion asserted by a few conspiracy theorists. We've told you already, we do not intervene directly in your world. The human cultivation project. It was a phrase you heard whenever you read conspiracies about the Committee of 300. The committee wanted to establish a single, unified world government and construct a new world order. All but a chosen few would be kept under permanent brainwashing by the silent weapons, and so become unknowing slaves. Like cattle, they would offer their flesh, their milk, their labor, their children, and their lives to their masters. If it ever became real, it would be the cruelest, most systematic utopia possible for mankind. Humans would have no will of their own. They would become automatons, living happily even while oppressed. They wouldn't even know what was happening to them, so no one would ever complain. The human cultivation project may be a delusion, but the silent weapons aren't. NoAH 2 exists. We told you already. We didn't intervene directly. That's where the error we mentioned comes into play. You, Takumi Nishijo, Ganichi no Rose all created it. We're trying to fix it. And then the world will be under your control again. We'll be unknowing slaves for you to exploit. As he spoke, a terrifying possibility occurred to him. Was the human cultivation project already complete? An interesting idea, but an inappropriate metaphor. From the perspective of God, it would be more appropriate to say that you were cattle from the moment the world was created. That, however, is simply a metaphor. Answer my first question. Now, answer me. How does the Committee of 300 see this world? A testing lab? A cattle ranch? Kyunozib fell silent at his question. It's time. Time. What time? It's necessary that the Committee of 300 remain nothing more than a ridiculous conspiracy theory. Anyone who knows too much will be eliminated, as Inohara and Kuramochi were. And the three of you are no exception. The three of us. You don't mean Sana and Takumi Nishijo as well. When you made contact with us, you became our pawns. Well, I'm gonna have to read the rest of that when I'm video editing, because that's gonna bother me to not know right now. The monitor went black again. It was as good as a death sentence. Senna! Hideno bit his lip and quickly stood up. If he hurried, he might still catch up with them. He had to tell them it was a trap. He didn't want his daughter to die. He killed his wife and his daughter's little sister. He was all he had left. She was all he had left. No matter how much she hated him, he wanted her to live. So, he ran. But he never made it out of the Nozomi Technologies building. Shocker. There was the sound of an explosion and a violent shaking. It wasn't the earthquake and the sound. It was clear that someone had set a bomb. But knowing that didn't help him. The floor beneath him fell, and what looked like the gates of hell opened beneath him and swallowed him up. Yeah. Checks out. Only after making it down the street level did I really understand just how big the earthquake was. And there's nothing left of the brightly lit city I knew. The city had died. It was a city of death. I could see piles of people lying on top of each other, unmoving. Blood puddles lying in the road. Nobody was alive. Everybody was dead. Hideno had said the causalities would be in the 4-digit range. There was nowhere to that had caused this. This wasn't a natural disaster. Disaster wasn't the right word at all. This was a slaughter. Senna was walking a little ahead of me. Her expression was as pained as mine. Hideno wasn't with us. He stayed behind in the Nozomi Technologies building. He was, supposedly, Senna's father, but it certainly didn't look like that to me. She seemed to hate him. The two of them brought up her mother and her sister a few times. What had happened between them, whatever it was, It was so what broke her. I wasn't going to ask for details. I wouldn't even know what to say. My priority now was getting the cheat code. As long as I had it, I wouldn't need Senna to protect me. I'd be safe on my own. Suddenly, I heard a rumbling behind us. I thought it might be another earthquake and quickly dropped to the ground, but the earth wasn't shaking. I turned around nervously. A second ago, the Nozomi building had been behind us. Now, I saw a column of smoke rising into the sky, like a volcano had erupted. The building itself was gone. Had it collapsed? I don't know, was still inside. Senna let out a moan. She looked up at the huge column of smoke, which was now covering the sky.
どうぞ
Daddy. And then she saw me looking at her and turned away, but her shoulders were shaking. Damn it. If I'd known this would happen, I would have killed him myself.
私がこの手で殺しておくんだった
But he wanted that.
殺して
If I'd killed him myself.
おけば
だったら
Then
あの人も
you should
生き
just
返らせ
bring
れば
him back too then. Hydrate and head pats. And posture check. Actually, yeah, let me stand up for a moment. Quack, stretch, everything. You guys are finally remembering to take care of your Tamagotchi streamer. Gosh. Head pats are most important thing here. Yes, though. Yes, hydrate. I haven't done that yet. Wee. With the cheat code, it was possible. At least it should be possible. If you were willing to believe Kid knows Ziv, that is.
殺すため
Bring
に
him back so I can kill him?
非効率的だな
Seems inefficient. Yeah. Pat, pat, pat. She laughed and then broke into tears. I didn't know what to say to her, so I said nothing. She held in the tears for a while, and then seemed to work up the resolve to start walking again. There were no more tears in her eyes, and quickly followed after. The underground area of Shibuya Station was a complicated maze, with platforms for the Hanzomon line and the newly established Shifukutoshin line. Also, the Ginza line was a subway, but its platform was on the second floor above ground for some reason. If you looked at it on a map, it would be easy to mistake it for a dungeon in a video game. The earthquake had caved in all the staircases too, burying them in rubble. Senna had blasted through them with her D-sword, so we were able to get through. But in the darkness, it took a long time to find the locker we were looking for. The air circulators were all broken too, so the air was filled with dust. I was coughing with every step and thought I'd choked to death. There were bodies everywhere too. The smell of rot was palpable.
これか
This is it. The locker we were looking for was undamaged and upright. And for some reason, it had electricity even while the others didn't. The IC card reader screen was lit up. Please press the button you want to use, it said. There were 2 buttons, insert and remove.
本当に
Is the cheat
こんな
code
何の変
really
哲もないロ
inside
ッカー
this
に
completely
チートコー
ordinary
ドが置いてあ
locker?
るのか。
This locker had been here before the earthquake. Countless people had walked past it. Normally, no one even noticed these things. How many people even use these lockers in the train stations? Were there that many of them? If you looked closely at them, you'd often see that most of them were full. And there were urban legends that said somewhere out there was a locker that never opened, and with something unbelievable inside. These legends had been around for decades, and they were completely believable. A locker like this was a small, tiny space right next to your everyday life where the unnatural could hide. I pressed the button to remove, and was prompted to put my card up against the screen's IC reader.
箱の中に残っているのは
Let's see what's in the
希望か
box. Hope
あ
or
るいは
despair.
絶望か。
Senna took her IC card out of her pocket and slowly moved it toward the screen. And there's a beep, and then the sound of a lock opening. With everything so quiet down here, it sounded far louder than it normally might have. Both Sen and I stood there. We both took a quick look around us. And it was time to meet the cheat code, whatever the hell it was. Please don't be creepy or gross, I thought. Personally, I'd like, a say-it-a-ton figure. Senna wiped the sweat off her forehead.
1009番。
Locker 1009, right? And it was the second from the left, third from the bottom. The number was written in big letters on the door. The door to the locker 109 was open slightly. It was too dark to see through the gap until what was inside. Sen and I froze as we stared at the locker. You opened the door. I could feel Senna thinking it, even if she didn't say it. I'd been trying to silently pressure her into opening the door too, so I couldn't complain. I thought about doing rock, paper, scissors to decide, but there wasn't time, and it wouldn't be appropriate anyway. Senna,
セナが
you should open it, I went to say, but before I could,
開けろ、
open it,
西条。
Nishijo. Senna took a step back and raised her sword.
もしもの場合は
If things go wrong,
私
I'll
が援
back
護
you
する。
up. What does wrong mean?
急げ。
Hurry! She looked like she was ready to stab me right in the back if I didn't do what she wanted. My throat was parched with nervousness. I told myself that if I could only make it through this, I could be a hero. I put my hand on the partially open door.
開ける
I'm
よ。
going to open it. Okay.
あ、
Yeah. Slowly, the door opened. I was expecting something big and dramatic to happen, but nothing did. And inside was...
なんだ
What
こ
the
れは。
hell? Sarah and I were both silent as we stared into the locker. Something wrapped in white. It was bigger than I expected it to be. I reached out to it and... I was thinking it was oddly baby-shaped, but I didn't want to say it. There was a sudden cry, and I pulled back my hand. What? No way.
赤ちゃん。
A baby. There's a living baby in the locker? There's a big blow up a few decades ago when a baby had been left in a locker like this. The coin locker baby, they called it. I guess it was still happening today. No, forget that. Where's the cheat code? I checked the number on the door again. Yep, it was locker 1009, which meant... Senna picked up the screaming baby gingerly, like it was something very fragile that could break at any moment. It is a baby! They are fragile and can break at any moment. The baby's cries were getting louder and louder. Senna stood there frozen, looking for me to help.
西条。
Help.
助けろ。 どうしたら
What am I
いいんだ
supposed to do? Don't ask me. I think you should breastfeed it. Buddy,
死ね
die. She got mad at me. Could Senna tell what delusions I was having?
多分
I
こ
think
の赤ちゃん
this
が
baby is the
チー
cheat
トコードだよ
code. Which meant that could only mean one thing. This baby was the cheat code. We had to destroy it to activate it. Right. Destroy it. That meant killing it. Senna glared at me. She wrapped her arms around the baby to protect it.
できない
I can't do it.
できるわけない
I
だろ
can't do it.
あの地
It
震を
survived that
こんな
earthquake
暗
all
くて
alone
狭
here
い
in
場
this
所で
cramped, dark
たっ
little
た一人で生き延
space.
びたんだぞ
それは
It's the
チー
cheat
トコード
code.
だよ
It only showed
地
up
震が起
after
き
the
た後に
earthquake.
ここに現れたんだそれは人
It's
間
not
じゃない
human. It just looks like
そう
it.
見えてるだけで
あの自
If
称
you believe
300
what the
人委員会の
self-proclaimed
言葉を
committee
信
of
じれば
300 says,
もし違ったら
what if they were lying?
あるいは
This might
もと
just
もと
be an
ここに置き
innocent
去りにさ
baby
れていたこ
someone
の子
left
に
here.
後
And
から
they
チート
installed
コー
the
ドだ
cheat
け
code
埋め込んだか
inside
もし
it.
れないんだぞ
Senna was so loud and fierce that I took a step back. I couldn't look her in the eye, but I tried my best to argue.
だって
But if we
しょう
don't
がないじゃ
destroy
ないか
it,
そ
we
れを
won't get
壊
the
さないと
cheat code. If I lost to Senna here, I wouldn't get the cheat code. I'd be a creepy otaku the rest of my life.
この子に
Touch this child, Nichijou. Feel
こ
its
の子のぬ
warmth.
くもりを感じてみろこんな小さい
Can
子
you
を
kill a little
お
baby
前は
like
殺せる
this?
のか
Of course not. I'm completely harmless. That's why it's your job. But of course, I couldn't say that.
セナは
You're contradicting
矛盾
yourself,
してる
Senna.
ここに来るまで
You
は
were
や
so
る
big
気満
on the
々だ
way
ったじゃない
here.
か世界は電気
The
仕
world
掛けなん
runs
です
on
よ
electricity,
だった
right?
ら
Which means
その子も
that
単
kid's
なる
just
人形だ
doll.
でも
But it's crying.
泣いてる
Senna held the baby gently. This wasn't the grumpy, cranky Senna I knew. Her face was filled with compassion.
この子は
It's crying.
今
Nichijou.
泣いてるんだ西条
This is crazy. Was Senna just another crazy chick buddy?
チートを
If we
発動
don't
させて
activate the
ノア
cheat
2
and
を
destroy
壊さな
NoAH
きゃ
2,
君の
your
家族
family
だっ
won't
て
come back.
帰らないぞなんで
Why are you
ためらうんだよ
hesitating?
この子は
Because this child
生
is
きている
alive.
からだ殺せない
I can't kill it.
私には
だったら自分が殺してあげるっすよ
I'll kill it for you then. Shut up, Suwa, fucker.
Huh?
Huh? A roar. I dropped into a crouch out of sheer reflex, with no idea what was going on. This motherfucker. I looked around, still low to the ground, and saw a man standing near the Fukutoshin line turnstiles. He was holding something in his hands. Senna's voice was hoarse. I could see her hands were turning red with blood. No, it wasn't Senna. It was the baby she was holding. The white towels it was wrapped in were turning red at a frightening pace. She's going to die. Again. I'm going to die right in front of me again. Her body was shaking.
相変わらず
so
自
damn
分
good
の
with the
射撃
gun.
の
Oh,
腕
shut
素晴ら
up,
し
you
いっすよ
fucker.
ね
He was wearing a suit and walking towards us with a grin on his face. There was a big backpack on his back.
こんなところ
What
で
are you
何の
guys
相
doing
談し
down
てるんす
here?
か
And also, what's
っ
with
て
the
いう
baby?
かその
Is
赤
that
ん坊
yours?
何な
You
ん
got
す
her pregnant, kid?
もしかしてあれっす
Man,
か
teenagers
二
these
人の隠
days.
し子
They even know how to
できちゃっ
use a
た
condom.
最近の高校生はなってないっすね。
Can we strangle him? Can I get a token to tear out his internal organs with his bare hands? Right? Right?
ま、
No,
別に
not
どう
my
でもいいっ
problem.
すけど、
I'm here to kill the both of you.
自分は
Can't have
君
you
たち
nosing
を
around
始
my
末
with
しに来たん
THC.
すよ。ノア2の近くで目障りなことされると困るんで。
He was with Inozumi then? I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before, but I couldn't remember. Why did he have a gun? He was going to kill us. You know, to escape.
さて、
And I guess
そ
I'll
れじゃ
start
あ
with
ま
the
ず
crazy
そっち
sword
の
girl who's
危
been
なっか
attacking
し
all
い通り魔女子
reporters.
高生から始末しましょうかね。
He raised the gun. He was aiming it at Senna, but Senna was just holding the baby and sobbing. What was I supposed to do? I have the cheat code now. What do I do? I'm invincible now. I can't protect Senna. I'm invincible. I can do whatever I want.
師匠。
I put myself between Senna and the gun. A moment later, I felt a terrible impact and burning pain in my chest. My uniform was turning red. I'd been shot.
おーっと、
Oh, very
かっこいい
cool,
っすね、
Takumi
西条
Nishijo.
匠くん。身を挺して
Sacrificing
女を
yourself to
守るな
save
ん
the
て
girl.
男
What a
の鏡っ
man.
す。でも、
But how long do you
そ
think
れ
he
も
could
い
keep
つ
it
まで
up?
持つかな。
With each gunshot I heard, another hole opened in my body. Blood splattered everywhere. The pain started to wreak havoc on my nerves. Senna was still looking at me emotionlessly, tears in her eyes as she held the baby. The towels were mostly covered in red now. I couldn't tell if it was the baby's blood or my own.
西条。
Nishijo,
違う。
you're bleeding.
違う。
And water is wet.
このままじゃ。
You're going to use the cheat code.
使って。
But what do I do?
どうしたら。
Crap, I'm starting to pass out. It hurts, 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 it hurts. Nobody told me it was gonna hurt like this. The Chico would give me invincibility, but if Senna didn't activate it, I was going to die. Someone was approaching me from behind. I could sense the murderous desire radiating from them. I felt something hard against my back. My wounds felt like they were on fire, but the sensation was ice cold.
よく頑
Nice
張ったっ
work
す
hanging in there,
ね。
kid.
でも
But now
これ
it's
で終わりっ
over.
す。
A shot to the heart from
この
this
至近距離
range.
で心臓をズドンとや
I
れ
don't
ば、
think even a
さすがの
Kikulomaniac
ギ
could
ガロマ
stop
ニアックスで
that.
も死亡確定っすから。
セナ。
Senna, hurry. Senna was just crying. Was this the end? I had the cheat code now, but it wasn't gonna do me any good.
くたばれ、
Die,
ク
you
ソガ
little
キ。
shit. No, you're the little shit. Then the sensation on my back disappeared. I thought I'd been shot, but instead of a gunshot, I heard the sound of something shaking the air. My arm.
俺の腕が。
Fucking deserve it, buddy. White wings, shining and dancing in the air. We were underground. There were no birds anywhere. Half passed out from the pain, I slowly turned around, and I saw... Rimi!
リミ。
Rimi.
タク。
Taku. She was holding a sword I'd never seen before. It was beautiful and terrible to look at. Rimi was there. Rimi, the girl who'd abandoned me. She was looking at me with a sad smile. Blood was pouring from the man's arm. It had been severed clean at the elbow. The hand with the gun was lying on the ground. Had Remy done that? You bitch. You cut off my hands. After what you did to Nana, you don't have the right to complain. You know what? Yeah. Hand for hand, I guess.
Remy.
Me. Remy looked away from me. She stood in front of the man, as if she was protecting us. Go, quickly. I know basically what's going on. Destroy Noah 2. Aoi, Taku. Her loud voice snapped me out of my drowsiness. The slightest movement made terrible pain run through my body. I wanted to collapse right where I stood. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to think. I didn't want to die. I started to pass out again. I could feel the blood pouring from all the holes in my body. As despair and the terror of death threatened to overcome me, I wrapped my hand around Senna's shoulder.
行こ
Let's go.
う。今のう
While we can. I'm sorry.
すまない
Yoshisho.
日常私を
You were protecting me.
かばって
And now you're bleeding so much. Her eyes were soaked with tears. I'd never seen her cry before. Come to think of it, I wasn't sure I'd ever thought she was capable of crying. Not only now, with my hand around her shoulder, did I realize for the first time just how frail her body was. Senna probably wasn't special either. Real-life girls were just thin like this. Normally she was arrogant, bossy, and always felt eager to step on my face. But Senna was a girl after all. Don't worry, Senna. There's nothing for you to cry about. If you can get the cheat code, I'll be fine. I'll be just fine. I clenched my jaw and started to walk. Behind me, I could hear a strange noise and a piercing, resonating sound. I didn't look back. He arrived above ground. He was leaving a trail of blood behind me. I'd lost a lot of blood. At first, the winds had felt so hot. Now they were so cold. No matter how hard I tried to keep control, my body shivered horribly. My teeth were chattering. I looked up and saw a planetarium in front of me. There was something strange about it. The other buildings around it had collapsed, or had huge cracks spreading through them. The planetarium building, however, was completely unharmed. That building had been torn down years ago, I thought. Why was it still here? Why had I never wondered about the fact that it was here? Was it someone's giglomaniac power, or Noah 2? Either way, it must have been because of the cheat code that I noticed. All that was left to activate the cheat and destroy the planetarium. Senna couldn't keep me up anymore. I fell to the ground.
セナ
Senna,
チートを
use the cheat code.
使うんだ。
It hurt to even talk. Senna's eyes were going between me and the baby. She was shaking her head softly and shivering. No, my eyes are going blurry. Without the cheat code, I'll die. Nishisho,
日常
get a hold of
しっかり
yourself.
しろ
Yes.
女の
Assistant,
死なないで
don't die.
お願い
Please,
なあ
listen.
日常
Nishisho,
世
the
界
world
は
doesn't run on electricity.
電気仕掛けなんかじゃないんだ私
I
は
just
ただ
wanted to believe
思い
that.
込みたかっただけ母さ
I
んと
couldn't
妹
forgive
を
myself for
見
letting
殺し
my
にしか
mom
で
and
き
little
なかった
sister
自分が
die. I couldn't forgive myself for getting sick of the
気持
sight
ち
of
悪いと
them
吐いてし
growing
まった
up.
自分が許せなくて
I didn't want
誰
to
が死
believe
んだ
they
の
were dead.
父さん
What
が
my
あんなこ
father
と
had
したのも
done. I wanted to get rid of all my emotions.
感情だって捨て去りたくて
But I can't.
だけど
No matter what I try,
どうやったって
Still hate my
父さんを
dad.
憎んで
I'm
しまう
still
し
sad about my
母
mom
さん
and
や妹
sister's
の死ん
death.
だことが悲
And I still can't forgive myself. I don't want this child to die. Damn it. Senna was useless. I'd have to do it myself. I reached my head out toward the bloody baby Senna was holding.
貸して
Give that to me.
それを
But Senna refused to let go. No. Ichijo, stop. It's already dead.
出るよ
Senna gasped, realizing I was right. I yanked the baby from her hands. I ignored her sobs and held the baby in my arms. Come on, cheat code. Give me power. I knew it was gonna be his D-sword. And then a pale light, a strange color. A glowing sword was lying on my feet. The D-sword. I forgot the pain as I reached down to pick it up. It was huge, shockingly light, like holding air. I was sure of it. This is the real thing. It wasn't a toy. Way to go, cheat code. I had worked so hard to get a D-sword and failed, and now here it was in my hands. I used what little strength I had left to stand up. My wounds hadn't healed, but now I was invincible. I could cure myself in an instant. There was nothing to fear. But Senna currently useless. I'll destroy NoAH 2 myself. I could feel the power welling up inside my body. I felt like I could do anything I wanted to. I had a power that rivaled God. I swung the sword. I was aiming for the planetarium, which is eerily lined up. I'll destroy you.
これで
This is the end.
終わりに
A gunshot. Blood spurted out from my chest. And then, incredible pain. For a moment, I stopped breathing. My vision blacked out. I could feel something awful deep in my throat. And when I coughed, I could taste blood in my mouth. Had the man shot me again? Hadn't we been holding him off? I looked around, and then I gasped. There were so many people there. They were surrounding Senna and I. They all had the same dead eyes. They all had guns in their hands. They were all aiming at me. And all of them were whispering something.
信仰の
May
救
the
いあれ
divine light save us.
信仰
May
の
the
救い
divine
あれ
light save us.
信仰
May
の
the
救い
divine
あれ
light save us.
信仰
May
の
the
救
divine
い
light
あれ
save us.
信仰の
May the
救いあ
divine
れ
light save us. May
信
the
仰の
divine light
救いあ
save
れ
us.
セナ
Senna, get down! They all fired at once. The bullets tore through my body, ripping my flesh and severing my bones. An impact hit me hard and blew me off my feet. I danced like a puppet. The pain hit my mind directly. It made me almost pass out.
あな
Damn it. But I stayed standing. I had the D-sword held high with one hand. I'll destroy you, I prayed. I'll destroy NoAH 2. No matter how much of a mess I am, I won't die. I can't die. I brought down the sword. A red arc of light shot out from it. There was a flash in the night sky. It shot out toward the dome, a blade of light tearing through the darkness. It headed straight for the planetarium. And was repelled by an unseen power.
嘘でしょ
No. It was like there was an invisible wall between it and me. The light from the D-sword was deflected and disappeared. Silence. The ones who'd shot at me, Senna, myself, all of us were watching in shock. Even the cheat code wasn't good enough. Was it impossible to destroy NoAH 2? One more shot. I couldn't let it end here. I spat out blood. The sweat was getting in my eyes. I barely felt any pain. I was losing feeling in my whole body. Maybe my nerves were paralyzed. One more shot. I'm strong. The strongest. I've got the cheat code. Oh, just one more shot. I raised the sword. May the divine light save us! And scream, and another gunshot. Nishijo! Senna threw herself on top of me. This time, it was her turn to save me. Senna.
私も
Help.
手伝うよ
I'll help you. Senna held my bloody body tightly. She clenched my hand, the one that was holding the D-sword. Senna's body was so warm. It almost felt hot. It must have been the heat of her blood. The last bullet had pierced her body. This is the heat of the blood pouring from her beating heart. Now I understand
ちゃんと
how much this means to you.
分かったから壊そう
Let's destroy it
その子のた
for
め
the sake of that child too.
壊そう
Let's destroy it.
二人で
Let's work
力を
together.
合わせてお前だけ
I won't let you be the only one to
死なせない。
die.
お前だけ
I won't let you be the only one to do something crazy.
私とお前
And I will share the same
運命
fate
共同体だずっと
together
一緒だ
forever
死ぬ
when we
時も
die. When we
戦う
fight.
時も
That's almost romantic.
もう
Let's put an end to this cycle of sadness.
止めよう復活とか
I don't need to bring them back to life.
でもいい自然の
I
摂理
shouldn't do
に反
anything
する
that defies the natural order.
するべきじゃない私は
Just,
ただもう
I just don't want to see any more sadness or
悲しみ
hatred.
も見たくないんだこんな世
I
界
don't want to see the world like
見たくないん
this.
だお前が
I
傷つ
don't
く
want
の
to see you getting hurt
見たく
either.
ないんだだから
So, let's destroy it together.
壊そうあの
The cause of
す
all
べて
of
の
this.
元凶を
Senna's voice echoed in my fading mind. Had she finally recovered? She was crying so much. She was covered in blood after getting hurt defending a creepy otaku like me. Both Senna and I were covered in blood. But I could feel Senna's warmth. I could hear Senna's voice. We held the D-sword high together. I could still hear the gunshots around us. But it was too late. The power was welling up inside me, stronger than before. I could feel the powerful pulsing of Senna's life. I destroyed the device whose power rivaled God, using the power of God. This time, it would work.
行くぞ
Let's do it.
西条
Nishijo. I nodded. And Senna and I. Brought down the sword with all our strength. It was a powerful flash of light. A flash of light that ripped apart the whole world. A red light that split the night in two. A red blade that seemed as if it might reach all the way to the moon itself. It annihilated everything it touched. The planetarium burned to ash, along with its unseen wall. The impact and wind were incredible. I thought they'd rip me apart. The people around us were being blown away. But still, Sen and I supported each other's bodies. We held the baby tight, protecting it. And we used every bit of power we had. I wasn't thinking at all about what came next. The cheat code, I could heal my wounds. All I needed to focus on now was destroying NoAH. I kept pouring all my power into it, letting it burst forth. The sound disappeared. The light vanished. Saya and I were standing there, silently, in the middle of the dead, ruined city. Senna was clinging to me, and I was leaning up against her. We were holding the bloody baby between us. I couldn't move another step. I couldn't move an inch. I didn't have the strength left.
も
Enough.
ういいんだ。悲しいけど
It's sad. But that's
No.
enough.
いいんだ。死んだ人を
It's
生き返
selfish
らせるのなんて
want to bring back the dead.
エゴでしかないから。チートコードを
Let's get back the cheat code.
返そう。
I agreed. When we were alive, we had to live our lives for the sake of those who had died. I'm sorry. Sana softly held the bloody baby.
ごめん。
I'm sorry.
死なせてしま
I'm
って。
sorry I let you die.
ごめん。
Sana sure was crying a lot today. But she was a lot prettier now than she was when she was mad at everybody all the time. And her tears were beautiful too. I thought about that as I looked up at the night sky. Jesus fucking Christ.
この世界で起きてる異常なニュースさえ
Well, this ending did a great job of opening more questions than it answered. Fuck. Just Do you guys have any thoughts you'd like to share with the class? Part of me is hoping for an after credit scene, but I don't think there will be. There usually isn't. Screaming. You're trying to think of how this would tie into Steins Gate, but you're coming up on a blank. Yeah. I feel like how things tie into Steins Gate will definitely be mostly like answered in the Blue Sky ending more than any of the others. But all the arrows are gone. I go from the Wait, that's what's her face? All the arrows are gone. I go from the destruction of NoAH and the elimination of Genichi no Rose as well. The original Takumi Nichijou has been secured. He's barely alive, but we have him. As for the copy of Takumi Nichijou, as well as Tana Hatano, as per the plan, when the mission is finished, they're both to be. They're dead. I'll continue my investigation here, but it appears likely that neither Tana Hatano nor Takumi Nichijou created any errors.
それでいいんじゃない？
And isn't that good enough?
私の仕事も減ったこと
Must
だ
work
し。
for me.
あ、そうそう。
Oh, right.
ついで
I
に
took
周り
care
を
of
うろ
the
ちょろしてた
followers of the
天聖
cosmic
信仰会の
church
信者
that
連
we
中
were
も
hanging
処分しといた
around.
から。
Must say that's her name.
先畑
What do
リ
you
リ
mean
には逃げられた
Sakihata
みたいだけど、
escaped?
まあ、容易
But
には
she's
ならな
no
いでしょ。
threat.
世界人間
The
牧場
human
計画の予定
cultivation
には
project is going to
若干
need
の修
some
正が必要ね。
adjustments. Going to fight something.
でも、
But in
今
my
回の一
judgment,
連のエラー
the
は
string of
計
errors
画
can be
へと利用
used to
還元でき
further
る
the
と判
plan
断するわ。
itself.
結果的に
In
は
the end,
300
the
人委
committee
員
of
会に
300 has
何らの不
suffered
利
no
益も生
damage
じ
at
な
all.
い。了解。
Yes, understood.
デバッガー
I'm
の
ending
任
my
務は終了
debugging
します。
mission.
以後、
I'll
監視者
return
の
to my
役割に戻
position
るわ。
as observer. I can read. You.
あら、この子、
The child's
生きてる
alive.
ね。
That's
Yeah,
going to
not
count
Java.
as an error.
二人が命
Did
を
the
与
two
え
of
たの
them
か
give
し
it
ら。
life, I wonder?
みんな
I suppose I could
します
pretend I
か。
didn't see anything.
私は独
I'm
身だ
single,
し、
and children really
子供
aren't
は
my
ちょっと
thing,
苦手なん
but
だけど。ミルクは手に
I
入る
wonder
か
if
し
it's
ら
even
ね。
possible to get
Oh,
milk in
Shibuya
Shibuya
で。
right now. I wasn't expecting Momose to have a greater role than she's been presented with. That's frustrating. That's really frustrating. Screams. The baby had brown hair, so feel free to make theories about that for other series, because I don't think the baby's gonna be much more than a baby in this one. Okay, well, because like it felt incomplete before the credits, so there's like, okay, there's probably gonna be an after credit scene, even though like most of the endings haven't had after credit scene, but that was the after credit scene, and I'm pissed. Screaming, 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 screaming. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got. Lots of screaming internally. I'm pissed. I'm so pissed off. If the baby does get tied into the future series, it might be not until Robotics Notes is gonna be my guess, because like Steins Gate takes place literally 2 years later, and there's like no one that's like 2 years old that we know about at that point. But I don't know when Robotics Notes takes place, probably around the same year it came out. Let me check when that was, because I don't know when that was released exactly outside of when it was placed on Steam. I'll just look up Science Adventure series. Okay, Robotics Notes came out in 2012, so if it also follows the same pattern of taking place the year it came out, then it wouldn't be until blah blah blah. The baby would still be quite baby. That's what I'm trying to say here. But looking at the release timeline, it is interesting to see that Linear Bounded Phonogram came out after Robotics Notes. Just gonna bear that in mind. Screams. Just screams. When does Robotics Notes take place? Maybe if I click the page, it'll let me know. Yes, I know. Okay, it takes place in 2009, according to the wiki page. That's interesting. Did I say 2009? I mean 2019. I'm so good at speaking. But what I find interesting about it coming out in 2019, like it taking place in 2019 rather, is that it like, yeah, the Box Notes Dash, a sequel to the game, was released in 2019. So that's also interesting. That's interesting. Interesting. But that does leave an open window for any brown-haired characters to possibly be connected that way. They would have to be babies still, kind of, because, like, 2008 to 2019, that's, like, only 11. But still. Anyways, enough thinking about the baby that they gave life to after perishing. A lot happened. I'm frustrated. I think you guys could tell that much, though. Oh, an ad? No, I'm gonna sneeze that. Thank you. We're about to end stream. It would be silly to have an ad break now. Is there anyone else playing? Nope, just me. Makes sense. I think I'm gonna raid Ludacy. They are currently doing some art and a subathon. Their very clever title is I haven't seen you guys since last year. The character have to be 11 years old, but essay. Just say science adventure. I've never seen it abbreviated like that before. But yeah, it isn't a stranger to having little kids be involved in the shenanigans. Looks at my but yeah. Screams. Yeah, that's kind of the most I have to hear about that ending. Momose, I'm gonna keep a close eye on you going forward. Because, yeah. That's what I have to offer. But yeah, so that's that. Tomorrow we'll be starting the Zero Escape Nonary games with the first game in the series. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, something like that. So that'll be exciting. I know Relix is really looking forward to me playing it, to the point that Relix is the reason why I have the games at all. That'll be our new Sunday slot game, which is exciting. And then Monday, of course, will be the usual NEPs. The typical schedule stuff. I will have the next new schedule out probably tomorrow at some time on the Discord. But yeah. If you have any further thoughts and opinions that you want to share about this ending, do spoiler tag, but do otherwise feel free to share in the Discord under the Science Adventure series, in the games, forums, thingamajigs, yeah. But until next time. Oh wait, I have a raid message. Let's get that in there. Yeah, copy paste before we get sent out. Yeah. To Literacy. Bye bye everyone.